Bueno, pues empezamos la jornada porque además lo importante es lo que viene detrás de nosotros. Nosotros solo hacemos un poco que la apertura oficial, pero lo interesante es lo que viene detrás de nuestra parte. En principio vamos a disculpar el retraso de la alcaldesa de Burgos, Cristina Ayala, que como los jueves suelen tener el pleno de la ciudad, pues tendrá que dejar ahí algunos temas atados y vendrá dentro de un ratito, pero bueno, vamos a arrancar nosotros la jornada para que no acumulemos y sobre todo por respeto tanto a ustedes como a los que nos están siguiendo a través del streaming. Bueno, pues lo dicho, señoras, señores, autoridades, empresarios socios del consorcio EAGLE, como no, para mí es un honor darles la bienvenida a la Casa del Empresario, sede de FAE, en esta jornada tan especial en el que convergen talento, experiencia e innovación bajo el marco de la Conferencia EAGLE. En nombre de FAE quisiera expresar nuestro profundo orgullo de que nuestra ciudad se haya convertido hoy en el epicentro de este encuentro europeo dedicado a un tema de máxima relevancia, los retos de las competencias digitales en las pymes. Bajo el paraguas, bueno, aquí tenemos a la alcaldesa, por favor. Bueno, muchas gracias.
Terminamos ahora la Junta de Gobierno.
Por eso.
No podíamos llegar antes. ¿Qué tal? Hola, buenos días. Un placer. Buenos días a todos.
Bueno, pues como decía, en nombre de FAE quisiera expresar nuestro profundo orgullo de que nuestra ciudad se haya convertido hoy en el epicentro de este encuentro europeo dedicado a temas de máxima relevancia, los retos de las competencias digitales en las pymes, sobre todo cuando hablamos de pymes. Esa es sobre todo la máxima importancia. Bajo el paraguas de EAGLE Project. Contamos con la participación de 11 socios de 7 países europeos: España, Irlanda, Eslovaquia, Chequia, Finlandia, Lituania y Chipre, que espero que se sientan como en casa, tanto en esta sede como en nuestra ciudad, que les acoge con los brazos abiertos. Mi más sincero agradecimiento también a las autoridades que aquí hoy presentes, el rector de la Universidad de Burgos, a mi derecha, el viceconsejero de Transformación Digital de la Junta de Castilla y León, a mi izquierda, y la que no hace falta que presentemos, que es nuestra querida alcaldesa de Burgos, Cristina Ayala. Bueno, pues cuyo compromiso y liderazgo son fundamentales para avanzar juntos hacia la digitalización de la sociedad. Permitidme también destacar la presencia de nuestro ponente inaugural, el señor Luis Ignacio Vicente de Olmo, un referente indiscutible en el ámbito de la transformación digital, que nos ofrecerá una perspectiva estratégica sobre los desafíos y oportunidades que plantea este proceso. Antes de dar inicio a la conferencia propiamente dicha, quisiera aprovechar este momento para ofrecerles unas pinceladas sobre la ciudad que hoy acoge este importante encuentro. Burgos es una ciudad cargada de historia y simbolismo. Fundada en el año 884 por conde Diego Rodríguez Porcelos, Burgos se consolidó hacia el 930 como la capital del condado de Castilla, desempeñando un papel clave en la construcción de lo que más tarde sería el Reino de Castilla. En 1512, nuestra ciudad fue testigo de un hito histórico, como la promulgación de las leyes de Burgos, las primeras disposiciones de la monarquía hispánica para regular su expansión en América, sentando las bases de los derechos humanos. La riqueza histórica y cultural de Burgos va más allá de sus murallas. A tan solo 15 kilómetros del centro urbano se encuentran los yacimientos de Atapuerca, cuna del primer europeo, con restos humanos que superan el 1.000.000 de años en antigüedad. Esta herencia nos recuerda la importancia de Burgos como un puente entre el pasado y futuro. Pero si por algo se conoce en nuestra ciudad, es por nuestra Catedral de Santa María, una joya del arte gótico europeo, declarada Patrimonio de la Humanidad por la UNESCO en 1984, que estoy seguro que tendrán o habrán tenido ya la oportunidad de admirar su majestuosidad durante su visita. Sin embargo, más allá de su legado histórico, Burgos destaca por su dinamismo económico. Nuestra provincia alberga un tejido industrial sólido y diversificado, con empresas líderes tanto a nivel nacional como internacional. Entre ellas destacan el Grupo Antolín, uno de los mayores grupos empresariales del sector de la automoción a nivel mundial, Grupo Gestamp, Bridgestone, Michelin, GlaxoSmithKline, Benteler, Nicolás Correa, Calidad Pascual, Campofrío, Matutano o L'Oréal. Solamente es una muestra por mencionar algunas de las firmas líderes en agroalimentación, automoción, química y metal. Este espíritu innovador y competitivo refuerza el papel de Burgos como un motor clave en la economía española y europea. Quisiera concluir agradeciendo sinceramente al equipo de Project EAGLE, a los ponentes y a todos los participantes que han hecho posible este encuentro. Estoy convencido de que las ideas y conclusiones que emerjan en esta jornada serán fundamentales para construir un futuro más competitivo, innovador y sostenible. Les invito a aprovechar cada instante de esta conferencia, participen activamente en las actividades programadas y compartan su conocimiento y refuercen el compromiso que nos une en esta gran tarea que es la transformación digital. No olvidemos que llevamos trabajando ya 2 años y vamos a por el tercero, o sea que es un proyecto de envergadura. Muchas gracias. Cedo la palabra al viceconsejero de Movilidad, Luis Enrique Ortega.
Muy bien, muchas gracias, Miguel Ángel. Tus palabras. Bueno, buenos días a todos. En primer lugar, permítame saludar a la alcaldesa de Burgos, Cristina Ayala, al rector de la Universidad de Burgos, José Miguel García, al que aprovecho además para darle enhorabuena por su reciente nombramiento, a todos los asistentes y de forma especial al presidente de FAE, don Miguel Ángel Benavente, por la organización de esta jornada sobre retos en competencias digitales en las pymes. Agradezco la invitación a participar en este acto inaugural en el que trasladaré algunas de las iniciativas que la Junta de Castilla y León está desarrollando para mejorar las competencias digitales de las pymes. La transformación digital está influyendo de manera integral en todas las áreas de nuestra economía, reconfigurando el futuro económico y creando nuevos modelos de negocio. La Agenda Digital de Castilla y León es el instrumento clave del Gobierno de la Comunidad para configurar las TICs como herramientas que facilitan la cohesión social y territorial, a la vez que mejoran la prestación de servicios públicos y la innovación y competitividad de la economía. Me gustaría mencionar algunas de las actuaciones necesarias para impulsar esta transformación. Estoy seguro de que en la ponencia inaugural Retos de la transformación digital y competencias digitales en la PYME se profundizará en estas cuestiones. El acceso a la banda ancha es esencial para que los ciudadanos puedan disfrutar de las nuevas tecnologías en igualdad de condiciones. Los últimos datos trasladados desde el Ministerio para la Transformación Digital y de la Función Pública, responsable de extender la banda ancha y llevar la conectividad en el ámbito nacional y, por lo tanto, en nuestra comunidad, los datos, como digo, en Castilla y León son a fecha de hoy, un 83% de cobertura de fibra óptica y un 80% de cobertura de 5G, datos que sin duda tienen que mejorar para que las tecnologías digitales sean una realidad y lleguen a todos los rincones de en este caso, de nuestra provincia, de nuestra comunidad. Es necesario llegar a la plena conectividad, como he comentado, y para ello, desde la Consejería de Movilidad y Transformación Digital, estamos impulsando actuaciones a través de la Mesa de las Telecomunicaciones y Digitalización de Castilla y León. En concreto, en la Ponencia Técnica de Conectividad e Infraestructuras, liderada desde la Dirección General de Telecomunicaciones, y que ya hemos tenido varias reuniones en las que estamos en contacto directo con las empresas adjudicatarias de los planes único y colaborar con ellos en resolver aquellos problemas que pueden hacer más difícil el que la fibra óptica se pueda extender. La conectividad es condición necesaria, pero no suficiente. La ciudadanía, pymes, microempresas deben contar con competencias digitales. En este sentido, a través del programa CIL Digital, se realizan cursos de formación presenciales en las capitales de provincia, en los espacios CIL Digital, y en el ámbito rural, en los más de 260 centros rurales asociados, también se llevan a cabo cursos de formación en colaboración con ayuntamientos y asociaciones. Asimismo, se ofrecen también cursos online, servicios de asesoramiento tecnológico o exámenes de certificación de competencias digitales tan importantes para poder presentar a nivel curricular allí donde cada uno tenga su necesidad. Estos cursos incluyen desde la ofimática, la creación de contenidos digitales o el uso de la inteligencia artificial y permiten automatizar procesos, mejorando la productividad, competitividad y, por lo tanto, los resultados de las empresas, pymes y autónomos. Mejorar la competitividad de las empresas a través de la transformación digital es otro de nuestros retos y por ello abordamos actuaciones de apoyo en función del sector, del territorio o del grado de madurez digital de las mismas, para posteriormente proporcionar el asesoramiento tecnológico necesario que les permita adoptar la solución que mejor se adapte a sus necesidades y la línea de apoyo financiero también importante que permita abordar la inversión necesaria. Cobran especial atención las medidas de ciberseguridad, así como las medidas formativas de colaboración universidad-empresa, de apoyo empresarial, de fomento del empleo y del emprendimiento. Medidas que sin duda se ven complementadas con las que se desarrollan a través del proyecto EAGLE, en el que da sentido a la jornada que hoy se celebra. Otro aspecto importante para el desarrollo de las empresas es la transformación digital de las administraciones públicas, inmersas en el mismo proceso que experimenta la sociedad. El objetivo último, y ese es el que tenemos encomendado, es conseguir una mayor eficiencia y calidad de los servicios públicos, de manera que sean más sencillos de usar por los ciudadanos y empresas, que sean también más seguros, fomentando el uso de la e-administración y facilitando el apoyo necesario desde el servicio 012 a los usuarios de la sede electrónica y mediante la transformación digital de las oficinas de registro y atención al ciudadano. La escasez de profesionales tecnológicos es otro de los retos a los que nos enfrentamos. Una cuestión que afecta no solo a nuestra comunidad, sino que es común en la Unión Europea. Prueba de ello es que en este proyecto EAGLE, del que hoy estamos aquí, hace que estemos aquí, están incluidos países y universidades de todo el ámbito europeo. Y en la segunda mesa, que hoy se celebra, se darán claves que afectan a los profesionales STEM. Nuestra administración, en aras a la generación y atracción de talento, ha implantado una primera estrategia integral de ámbito autonómico de colaboración público-privada y un plan de acción integral del talento 2024-2027 con una dotación de 348 millones de euros. La Junta de Castilla y León ya ha avanzado en la puesta en marcha de algunas de las actuaciones para mejorar la capacitación digital de los trabajadores. Actuaciones como la convocatoria de 200 becas en prácticas para estudiantes universitarios de posgrado con perfiles especialmente tecnológicos en el marco del programa Becas Talento. El programa de formación a la carta en empresas de carácter dual. Un ciclo formativo en transformación digital destinado a pymes y micropymes. O el ciclo formativo en tecnologías avanzadas destinado a trabajadores de pymes. Me agrada ver que temas como el Business Intelligence y analítica de datos están presentes en la primera mesa de hoy, pues la gestión y explotación de los datos es una palanca de mejora de la productividad. Por supuesto, tenemos que hablar de la estrategia de emprendimiento e innovación de Castilla y León, cuyo objetivo es potenciar el crecimiento económico a través de la implicación tanto de los agentes vinculados a la innovación y el emprendimiento como a empresas y organizaciones privadas relacionadas con este ecosistema. Para su desarrollo de la estrategia que he comentado, se van a movilizar 812 millones de euros procedentes de aportaciones públicas y privadas, lo que va a suponer un aumento de las empresas innovadoras en la comunidad para mantener un tejido empresarial dinámico y generar puestos de trabajo estables y de calidad, además de impulsar la transformación digital y la sostenibilidad, también algo importante a tener en cuenta. Estas actuaciones complementarán el esfuerzo tecnológico I+D+I de Castilla y León, que en 2023 se elevó al 1,36% del PIB, manteniendo la quinta posición entre las comunidades autónomas. Voy concluyendo. Podemos afirmar que Castilla y León es una región líder en innovación que pone a disposición de ciudadanos y empresas las herramientas necesarias para la mejora de las competencias digitales y la digitalización. Las pymes están ante el reto del subirse al tren de la transformación digital, una gran oportunidad para ser más competitivas. Animamos a las pymes a aprovechar los recursos disponibles participando en iniciativas como es el proyecto EAGLE, que no tengo la menor duda que es y va a seguir siendo de gran utilidad. Muchas gracias.
Bueno, tiene la palabra ahora el rector de la Universidad de Burgos, el José Miguel García, que además, como bien ha dicho el viceconsejero, yo creo que es uno de los primeros actos de estos nuevos cometidos, o sea, con lo cual doble agradecimiento que estés hoy aquí.
Muchas gracias, buenos días. Es el primer acto realmente después de la toma de posesión, cosa que, siendo la Universidad de Burgos una universidad inmersa en el tejido industrial o que quiere, que tiene una enorme relación en el tejido socioeconómico, pues realmente es de especial relevancia. Lo primero que quiero es dar los buenos días y agradecer a todos los presentes físicamente y a través de Internet en el desarrollo de estas jornadas del proyecto EAGLE. Y también, como no, pues agradecer a los miembros de la mesa, alcaldesa, viceconsejero y nuestro anfitrión, Miguel Ángel, el presidente de FAE. Ya se ha comentado un poco lo que es el proyecto. La ciudad, voy a decir algunas cuestiones que desde el punto de vista de la universidad, pero con esa perspectiva de interrelación también en el propio tejido de la sociedad burgalesa y de Castilla y León, pueden ser un poco relevantes, ¿no? Esa relación entre administración, empresa, el sector servicios, tercer sector, universidad, y también la parte formativa, formación profesional en Europa, el vocational training, ¿no? Es especialmente relevante para el futuro. Lo que estamos es tejiendo el futuro. El ejemplo paradigmático pues, es este proyecto EAGLE, ¿no? Centrado además en las empresas, en las pequeñas y medianas empresas, que en nuestro país pues las grandes son las conocidas, pero la pequeña y mediana empresa es la que genera la mayor parte de la riqueza y la mayor parte del trabajo y, por tanto, sostiene a la propia sociedad y a nuestra sociedad centrada en los valores y en la defensa de las personas, ¿no? Y pensando un poco en todo ese conjunto. Entonces, pues este proyecto es especialmente significativo. Las pymes tienen problemas adicionales a las grandes en digitalización. Todo el mundo los tenemos porque estamos en un desarrollo tecnológico que va mucho más avanzado al desarrollo realmente humano, ¿no? A la parte, a la adaptación, que es mucho más compleja. Para las pymes es fundamental porque la digitalización aumenta la competencia y fomenta el desarrollo empresarial y ofrece nuevas oportunidades, ¿no? Pero eso es lo que siempre se dice y es fácil de comentar, es muy difícil solucionarlo, sobre todo para las pequeñas y medianas empresas que están centradas muchas veces en el día a día y tienen problemas muy perentorios y no tienen tantos recursos para dedicar gente especializada tanto a la propia formación en tiempos como a especialistas que se dediquen exclusivamente a la implantación de un entorno digital, también desde el punto de vista mental de los trabajadores, ¿no? Dentro de las propias empresas. Los objetivos del proyecto, que son impulsar la transformación digital empresarial, contribuyendo a los objetivos digitales de la Unión Europea 2030, pues ya se han comentado, ¿no? Otro de ellos también es ese aumento de la relación entre el sector educativo superior y las propias pequeñas y medianas empresas. Eso también es fundamental porque esa relación es muy potente con las grandes empresas, pero las pequeñas tienen las mismas dificultades en la relación con las universidades, por ejemplo, que tienen en la propia digitalización, ¿no? Por esos tiempos que normalmente pues, se les comen. Y la otra, claro, es que el otro objetivo es el básico, es mejorar las habilidades digitales de las personas, que son los propios trabajadores y los que lo van a ser, ¿no? Estamos hablando de lo que es el mercado laboral. De entre los retos que tienen las empresas y que el proyecto va a contribuir a afrontar, pues eso, es la mayor eficiencia vinculada a la digitalización, el mayor alcance en mercados más amplios y específicamente globales y en una flexibilidad. Y los retos están en la brecha digital, en las habilidades digitales, en la inversión que supone y, cómo no, el gran problema para unos y negocio para otros, que es la ciberseguridad, ¿no? Sí que quería comentar un poco la parte más personal, porque como yo no soy del entorno tecnológico, mi formación es científica, pero es diferente y ahora estoy al cargo de la Universidad de Burgos. Estamos también afrontando, la universidad es diferente, no es una pequeña y mediana empresa, pero desde el punto de vista de las pequeñas partes que lo van formando la empresa, tiene un comportamiento similar con dificultades que son parecidas. Nosotros lo que vemos es ese problema de adaptación de las personas. Tenemos la tecnología, la implantamos, pero muchos de nuestros procesos están adaptados de la fase anterior, de la fase realmente de los trabajadores de la parte última del siglo XX, ¿no? Entonces, si queremos dar un salto significativo, tenemos también que adaptarnos como las pequeñas empresas. Y ese salto significa en procedimientos, en procesos y sobre todo en mentalidad, porque tenemos que delegar en toda la parte tecnológica todo lo que significa procedimientos de bajo o nulo valor, que muchas veces son los más fáciles de realizar y con los que las personas se sienten cómodas y por eso es difícil luchar contra ellos, y centrarnos en la parte de valor. Eso por una parte. Por otra, tenemos sistemas de datos y de adquisición de datos que también están pensados para otra época no digital. Ahora tenemos que aumentar la colección de datos y tenemos que explotarlos. Y encima, de forma segura. Y eso incluye, en nuestro caso, también la atención a los estudiantes desde un punto de vista tecnológico. En nuestro caso, el principal problema que vemos en la atención a los estudiantes es que, claro, tenemos titulaciones online y estudiantes de todo el mundo, en todos los idiomas y en todos los horarios. Eso ya es un reto significativo. Y llegar a ello significa, para nosotros, o que esos alumnos se matriculen, significa tener un conocimiento profundo de cómo hacerlo, que requiere de todos los análisis de datos que nos vayan aportando, que tengamos, pues es a explotarlos para alcanzarlos. Bueno, en general no me quiero extender, pero son retos significativos que muchas veces son comunes, que en el caso de las universidades se puede experimentar sin mucho riesgo en determinados ámbitos y eso puede servir para las empresas. Es un marco de colaboración, de desarrollo y sobre todo tenemos profesionales que están muy capacitados y que pueden colaborar activamente con las empresas, con el entorno y también con la administración, que tienen los mismos retos. Y en el caso de Castilla y León, pues tenemos un conjunto de 4 universidades públicas muy potentes que trabajamos muchas veces o casi siempre en ámbitos en común, tenemos muchos proyectos y que colaborativamente podemos impactar muy positivamente en todo el sistema, ¿no? Y ya, pues, para finalizar mi intervención quiero agradecer a Bruno Baruque y a todo el equipo porque, bueno, es el profesor de la Universidad de Burgos que dirige, que pilota, que coordina el proyecto, que la coordinación de un proyecto europeo es complicada, ¿no? Además, con empresas, asociaciones empresariales o similares en distintos países y distintas universidades. Agradecerle a él todo el trabajo y el impulso que está dando en esta componente de internacionalización. Y ya, pues, muchas gracias y doy paso a la excelentísima señora Cristina Ayala, la alcaldesa de la ciudad de Burgos. Gracias.
Muy bien, pues buenos días y muchas gracias. Un verdadero placer. Gracias, presidente de FAE, equipo de FAE que habéis estado trabajando para llevar adelante por tercera edición consecutiva un proyecto que sin duda ninguna es importante. Rector, que te estrenas hoy con este acto maravilloso de competencias digitales. Es un placer empezar a compartir contigo esta nueva aventura que con tu equipo empezáis de la Universidad de Burgos, de una nueva etapa de la Universidad de Burgos, y viceconsejero de la Consejería de Movilidad. Muchísimas gracias pues por acercarte a contarnos lo que se hace desde la Junta de Castilla y León para mejorar las competencias digitales. Mirad, nosotros da igual que hablemos de empresas grandes que de empresas pequeñas, porque para bien y para mal, todas tienen el mismo reto, porque su reto es el mercado. Y el mercado les está exigiendo digitalización, el mercado les está exigiendo sostenibilidad, el mercado les está exigiendo innovación y el mercado les está exigiendo calidad. Y da igual que sean empresas grandes o pequeñas. El mercado está ahí y dentro de esa teoría de la evolución humana que en Burgos conocemos también, da igual que hablemos de personas, que hablemos de empresas. O te adaptas o no tiras adelante. Esto es una cuestión muy darwinista, pero es así. El mercado es el que marca cuál es el posicionamiento que el cliente quiere. Y por tanto, hay que adaptarse a lo que el mercado pide, porque si no nos quedaremos atrás. Burgos tenemos la inmensa suerte de que es una ciudad que está modelada por dos cuestiones diferentes. Y hacía referencia el presidente de la FAE. Lo que diríamos que es nuestro posicionamiento si hablásemos de marketing. El posicionamiento de la ciudad de Burgos se basa en dos cuestiones fundamentales. Se basa en el patrimonio y en la cultura. Es evidente, todo el mundo relaciona Burgos con esa ciudad proveniente de la Edad Media en la que se avanza y en la que hay una cultura y un patrimonio muy destacados. Pero el otro elemento que modela nuestra ciudad es, sin duda ninguna, nuestra industria. A partir del polo de desarrollo, ya en movimientos anteriores, pero digamos que especialmente a partir del polo de desarrollo en los años 60, Burgos queda absolutamente cambiada a partir de su perfil industrial. Porque la ciudad se modela, como digo, y empieza a trabajar para ponerse a disposición de la industria. Esto hace que nuestra provincia sea la octava provincia con más PIB per cápita de toda España, que es un planteamiento que quizás para gente que viene de otros lugares de España o para gente que está en Europa, es un planteamiento que le pueda sonar más desconocido, porque es una ciudad con una población relativamente pequeña. Estamos hablando de 175.000, algo menos de 175.000 habitantes. Y sin embargo, como digo, somos la octava provincia con más PIB per cápita de toda España. Y esto es por ese perfil industrial tan importante que tenemos. Ese perfil industrial que lo alimentan grandes empresas, como bien decía el presidente de la FAE, pero también pequeño tejido que necesita adquirir nuevas competencias para estar en el mercado. Y nosotros estamos trabajando desde la administración pública local, desde el ayuntamiento, en que haya una conexión absoluta entre el talento académico y su adaptación al tejido empresarial. Entre el talento que somos capaces de generar rector con la universidad, con las escuelas de formación profesional, que para nosotros son un elemento de capacitación fundamental para nuestras empresas, y cómo con eso somos capaces de ofrecer a nuestras empresas la mejor capacitación posible para que sigamos dentro de esa teoría de la evolución avanzando sin parar, que es el objetivo que tenemos. Nosotros desde el ayuntamiento, por ejemplo, fomentamos, aparte de que recientemente hemos sacado un primer borrador de un plan de talento, donde queremos seguir trabajando en todas esas capacitaciones y en fomentar más talento en la ciudad para que haya más burgaleses y gente que no es burgalesa que decida quedarse en nuestra ciudad. Aparte de ese plan de talento en el que, como digo, hemos presentado un borrador que estamos trabajando con la sociedad burgalesa para tener un plan definitivo, también trabajamos, por ejemplo, con la Fundación ASTI. La Fundación ASTI es su presidenta. La verdad es que es una mujer emprendedora modélica que es burgalesa y que ha recorrido varias partes de Europa y del mundo desarrollando su talento. Y lo que quiere sobre todo es formación, dar formación y formación STEM, que en España y en Burgos desde luego seamos conscientes de la necesidad de esa formación STEM. Porque curiosamente, contra lo que pueda parecer, el número de alumnos que se apuntan, por ejemplo, a las ingenierías en los últimos años en España ha descendido. Y eso provoca una pérdida que tiene estimada la Fundación ASTI en un estudio que ha hecho recientemente de más de 120 millones de euros para la economía española. Por tanto, la formación y la capacitación en materias relacionadas con el STEM es un objetivo que tenemos como administración local en la medida en que podamos efectivamente estar allí. Despertar más vocaciones STEM. Además de que esto genera una brecha de género muy importante, porque todavía hay menos mujeres que se apuntan a formación STEM. Y por tanto, con Fundación ASTI, desde el Ayuntamiento de Burgos, estamos trabajando paralelamente para fomentar esas vocaciones. También hay un estudio de la Fundación Telefónica, que seguro muchas de las personas que están aquí conocen, que dice que en muy pocos años más de la mitad de los empleos actuales desaparecerán y serán reemplazados por otros que exigirán competencias STEM. De aquí nuestra obsesión. Y de aquí el acierto, querido presidente de la FAE, de hacer programas de este tipo, de capacitación. De aquí el acierto, viceconsejero, de todas esas medidas que estabas comentando que la Junta realiza para particulares y también para pymes. Por lo tanto, nosotros no podemos más que estar absolutamente en consonancia con ese trabajo que se está realizando desde el proyecto EAGLE, porque al final se trata, y creo que el nombre del proyecto es un nombre muy adecuado, por cuanto lo que tenemos que intentar tener y fomentar desde la FAE, desde la universidad, desde las administraciones públicas, es precisamente esa vista de águila, que logra ser global y a la vez certera y particular. Ahí es donde nos tenemos que dirigir como administraciones públicas. Termino ya. Nuestra ciudad, como les digo, es una ciudad modelada y puesta al servicio de nuestra industria, porque somos perfectamente conscientes de que el futuro será industrial o no será. Y por tanto, desde el Ayuntamiento de Burgos, como alcaldesa, nosotros hacemos todos los esfuerzos posibles para participar de hoz y coz, permítanme la expresión coloquial, en todos los proyectos que puedan surgir en este área, apoyarlos y estar detrás para que esa evolución humana y esa evolución industrial, esa evolución empresarial, consiga que Burgos esté en el sitio que merece por el talento que tiene nuestra ciudad y por el compromiso empresarial que existe en esta ciudad, tanto de grandes como de pequeños. Bienvenidos a la ciudad de Burgos, los que están online y no se hayan acercado todavía a ver nuestra ciudad, acérquense, es una ciudad maravillosa, y los que hayan venido de fuera, vuelvan, porque siempre hay una oportunidad para visitar Burgos y disfrutarlo.
Bueno, pues ya sin más vamos a dar paso a lo importante, ¿eh? Con lo cual nosotros dejamos la mesa y te dejamos todo el auditorio para ti, ¿eh? Muchas gracias a todos.
Muy bien.
Muy bien, Cristina.
Bueno,
Encantado.
un placer.
¿Sabes qué?
Ayer estuve hablando con tu consejero.
Sí, hablaste con Luis.
Digamos, por la noche, con el tema de
¿Sabes qué?
de la votación. ¿Es ese gobierno?
No.
¿El padre de la ciudad? De la provincia. Bueno, encantada. Suerte y... pues entonces... Fíjate. Sí, es que la Verónica la nombro siempre porque es una referencia absoluta. Venga, que vaya todo muy bien. Bueno, gracias. Bueno, nosotros marchamos a seguir con nuestra actividad planificada de todos los días. Vale, claro. Bueno, venga. Nos vemos. Bueno, también marchas. Nada, un placer. Muy bien. Pues buen trabajo.
Hello, good morning. We proceed now with the conference of this EAGLE project. And well, now we move on to English, first of all. We will be having direct translation in real time in Spanish for whoever wants to follow in Spanish. Well, I would like to say a couple of things before introducing our speaker today. Well, the EAGLE project, we've heard some things about it already, but I would like to emphasize how this project is about covering the gap between the skills needed, the education and the companies, right? And how small and medium-sized businesses need this kind of skills. So it's good to emphasize them in the educational process, and how it's beneficial for students or unemployed people to try to learn and improve those skills as well, to have a better chance to get a job, for example, or a better job. Thank you for everyone who came here. Thank you to everyone following online. And thank you to the authorities that gave us these nice introductions that I think laid out already a lot of the topics that we will be covering later on in the roundtables, and now with the opening speech. And without more delay, I'll introduce our speaker today. He's Luis Ignacio Vicente, CIO ABB from ASTI Mobile Robotics, and he's also the strategic advisor of Pons IP. He will be giving us a speech, a little conference about, well, the title of the day today, which is Digital Transformation, Challenges and Recommendations for SMEs, these small and medium-sized enterprises. So let's welcome him with an applause.
Yes, please. Good morning, authorities, the university, Vice President. Welcome and congratulations for the new activity in the university. As you know, the business sector of Burgos is open to collaborate with you, as you know. Also, good morning to the Vice Chairman of Mobility of the Data Transformation of the Castilla León governance. For me, it's a very big pleasure, obviously, to be here, also in my town and my region. And obviously, good morning to everyone present today in this auditorium in FAA, in FAE in Burgos, and also good morning to the people who is following our presentation via streaming, and maybe in the future via video, following the traditional video platforms. In any case, obviously, also let me to give a special gratitude to FAA and maybe Miguel Ángel and Emiliana Moreno for the invitation. And thank you also for the introduction. Maybe let me also to clarify, because for me, I'm very happy to listen from Cristina Ayala, the mayor of the city of Burgos, that is talking about Telefónica and ASTI. This is my former companies. So I was during 30 years innovation director at Telefónica, trying to push the network, the broadband, as the chairman is commenting. I'm very proud to try to push the networks, in particular in Castilla and León. During 30 years working in Telefónica, and also I was one of the persons who pushed ASTI, collaborating with Verónica Pascual. As you know, ASTI is a medium company in Spain, based in particular in Burgos. And ASTI was the leader of mobile robotics sector in Europe, from a small town in Burgos. We decided to sell the company to ABB 2 years ago, and now our vision is to lead the global mobile robotics sector from this town, from Burgos. So we are thinking that it's possible to grow our factory in Burgos in order to promote more employment. And one more time, the most relevant challenge for ABB today is the talent that you are mentioning also. And also, I'm very proud to be a member of the board of Pons IP, and also a strategic advisor of this company, because for me, intellectual property is one of the relevant tools that we need in order to push innovation today. And also, for me, I'm trying to be the strategic advisor of Pons IP in order to push how it's possible to evolve intellectual property in order to promote more innovation in our country. During the next 25 minutes, I would like to talk about the context of the digital transformation for SMEs today, some challenges, maybe the dean of the university talk maybe about some of these challenges. I try to add more, and also some recommendation, humble recommendation from my experience in Telefonica, ASTI, ABB, and Pons IP. And also I would like to finish with maybe 2 or 3 conclusions. Context. As you know, these guys are Ursula von Leyen, the chairman of the European Commission, and Mario Draghi. As you know, maybe the most relevant report promoted by European Commission last year was the Draghi's report conducted by Mario Draghi. And this is maybe the guidelines for European Commission during the next years. And I think this is relevant also for EAGLE projects. So also thank you also to participation of few of the EAGLE project members. And obviously, congratulations for the activity that we're promoting within the project. But in particular, when we're talking about the Draghi's report, they are considering that it's necessary to push at least these 5 points. They are talking about it's necessary to promote more innovation and technological advances, because obviously I think this is critical to push the innovation in our country, thinking about the markets that Cristina Ayala, the mayor of Burgos, mentioned it, but also about the geopolitical question that, you know, we are in the middle on a new world with a different position from China, from US, and we need also to push the particular new positioning of SMEs in Europe. Also necessary to push the investment in research and development. Also necessary to promote the regulatory simplification. This is maybe the typical opinion from the business sector, and in particular in Europe, it's necessary to reduce administrative burdens by 50%, making it easier for SMEs to operate and innovate. Obviously, it's necessary to talk about digital infrastructure and skills development. Skills, one more time, is the more relevant issue that we have today when we're talking about digital transformation. Obviously, it's necessary to talk about the access to finance, because it's necessary to invest a lot in the digital transformation for SMEs and large. And also, today, it's necessary to consider that we are in the middle of the digital decade proposed by the European Commission from 2020 to 2030, right? I'm just in the middle. And they propose some KPIs, some indicators related to the digital transformation. One of them is the SME's digital intensity. It's necessary to define digital intensity, but they are talking about a minimum digital infrastructures, maybe digital tools, website, a web page. And the level today is around 64% of European SMEs with this minimum SME digital infrastructure. But obviously, the goal for 2030 is 90% of SMEs in Europe with this digital mindset. And obviously, when we're talking about this effort, it is, I think, I imagine this is one of the goals of the EAGLE project that we're commenting today. But also, this is, we're talking about the context, it's like to consider that just this week, celebrating the World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos in Switzerland, I had the opportunity to ask my friend working at the World Economic Forum. I asked last week which are the main topics this year in Davos, and the answer was, of course, it's artificial intelligence transformation, but also things like resilience and geopolitics, and the impact of the new digital technologies for SMEs. So it's relevant that in Davos, they are talking about technology, and maybe normal today, but I am sure 20 years ago, the technology is not present on the table of the political discussions. And also they are talking about SMEs, and consider these topics in the strange geopolitical questions that we are discussing we are creating, as you know, a new world when the Trumps the US presidents, and also with the new politics from China, for example, we are talking a lot about maybe export borders, export tariffs, and obviously it's necessary also to talk about SMEs digital transformation when we're talking about the new geopolitical options. But when we're talking about technology, obviously it's very interesting for us to talk about the technology that we're discussing today. I remember maybe 30 years ago, I had the opportunity to participate in the team who introduced internet in Spain, maybe 30 years ago time. And when we restart about the digital transformation of SMEs 20 years ago, we're talking about maybe a web page, as I mentioned before, the first generation of digital applications. But today we're talking about networks, like Commissioner, we are talking about from the European Commission, the Vice Chairman of the Castilla León government about the penetration of the networks in our region with figures that is trying to push, I think that you mentioned it. Today we're talking about 5G networks, as I mentioned it. We're talking also about Internet of Things. We're talking about cloud computing. But maybe interesting also to consider that looking ahead, it's possible during the next 10 years, we will talk about new technologies, Web3, the evolution of Internet, artificial intelligence, maybe the artificial intelligence beyond the classical generative AI, also quantum computing. I would like to join these three concepts in a new word called WAIQ, W-A-I-Q, with the artificial intelligence quantum. And I am the coordinator of a summer course in Harvard University in Boston, considering the impact of these new WAIQ technologies. Because at the end, this is one of the recommendations for EAGLE projects, when we're talking about technology, when we're talking about digital transformation, it's necessary not consider only the technological aspects. It's also important to consider regulation, also the legal aspect, the social and the ethical condition, and also the business impact of the new technology. So inside to promote this holistic approach in order to consider the real aspect of the technology. But obviously, it is, I would like to highlight a technology, considering these proposals, technologies. Obviously, I think the champion is artificial intelligence, because when we're talking today about artificial intelligence, as you know, from the SMEs perspective, the discussion is not if you will use artificial intelligence or not. The discussion is when and how will you introduce artificial intelligence in your business. And as you know, the artificial intelligence concept is not a new kid in the block. It was created maybe 60 or 70 years ago by John McCarthy in Dartmouth Conference in the US. So we are not talking about a new topic, but during these 60 years, the generative or the artificial intelligence is evolving from the beginning to generative AI. At the beginning, we're talking about maybe a symbolic AI based on the traditional expert systems and trees for taking decisions, for example. And also maybe in the last 10 years, we evolved from this symbolic artificial intelligence to the more statistics artificial intelligence. This is the beginning of machine learning and deep learning. During the last 6 years, only 6 years, we are talking a lot about generative AI. At the beginning of the generative AI is this article from Google Researchers, all attention is all you need. And they are considering that, for example, for translate a particular word, it's better to consider the global sentence of the word and not only a particular word. And maybe the results of the translation effort will be better, obviously. And obviously, generative AI, as you know, is a good tool in order to promote new assets. We're talking about new reports, new pictures, new software code from other assets, maybe pictures, software code, maybe other reports. Generative AI now is the clear application that we have when we're talking about artificial intelligence. And other relevant condition when we're talking today about generative AI is the speed of penetration, the velocity of generative AI. And if we analyze, for example, the time of to reach 1 million users for ChatGPT, we're going to only 5 days. Spotify 5 months, Facebook 10 months. So I think the penetration of ChatGPT is faster than the previous digital application. How we are using artificial intelligence, especially generative AI, for small businesses. At least we are using artificial intelligence for these 6 applications: power, whitening and content generation, marketing tools, customer relationships and sales tools, design and creative tools, data documentation management, and the promotion of productivity and collaboration tools. So I think generative type, as commenting previously and now, obviously I think is one of the great applications that we have today. And talking about the challenge, well, for one SME, obviously decided to consider that the small and medium enterprises need usefulness, because for this kind of companies, a solution can be reach a benefit immediately. To talk about long-term or medium-term, for SME, it's more complicated than when we're talking about large firms. Obviously, they need resources, because obviously I think it's difficult for a particular company to talk about trial and error projects when we're talking about digital penetration or maybe a digital transformation. And bad news, when we are promoting this digital transformation, sometimes it's possible to fail, but if you fail, please learn from the fail and try again. But the success rate could be maybe 60% or less. And obviously, we need knowledge. In EAGLE project, we are talking about skills, and obviously for the SMEs, usually have not IT-specific knowledge, and this is the challenge that we have when we're talking about this kind of companies. But also talking about challenges is decided to talk about cybersecurity. Also, the dean of the university mentioned cybersecurity. As you know, the communication is the opportunity, cybersecurity is the challenge. Also, when we're talking cybersecurity, we're not talking only about maybe the small business. It's one of the most relevant businesses when we're talking about digital transformation of the companies, and also it's possible to talk about cyber war, for example. So I think maybe at the large companies, large relevant countries trying to collect information for the small companies in Spain, and starting to put barriers for this kind of attacks. This is one of the critical questions that we're discussing today. And as you know, in León, in our region, we have experts on cybersecurity, but this is obviously one of the typical aspects that we have a gap of talent. We need more experts in cybersecurity in order to support this question for SMEs. Other challenge for us is very important to talk about the data management. Also was mentioned before. At the end, we have a lot of data, and it's necessary to identify which is the best data that we need. Also, it's necessary to consider how it's possible to get value from the data. And for one SME, it's not easy, obviously, to identify this kind of information from customers, from suppliers, from operations. And in particular, we're talking in some cases about the privacy of the data. So maybe talking from the intellectual property perspective, maybe there are not a lot of companies creating patents, for example, but all the companies create trade secrets, and it's necessary to keep in maybe in a confidential condition this kind of information related to trade secrets, and also it's necessary to talk about the privacy. Other challenge that we have today for SMEs in Europe is all the question related to regulation. As you know, we had two relevant laws this year in Europe. One is the Data Act, but maybe all the SME companies are familiar with maybe the personal data regulation. When we're talking about Data Act, we're talking about other kinds of data. For example, we're talking about industrial data. There are non-personal data, the data about the performance of the particular machine. We're talking about synthetic data created by artificial intelligence, for example. So it's necessary to consider how it's possible to manage the data in our companies. But also, we have another relevant law that is the Artificial Intelligence Act. So maybe the European Commission in trying to regulate artificial intelligence, they consider the uses that is possible to develop or not using artificial intelligence algorithms. And maybe the Data Act is maybe it's an obligation from September this year, and the AI Act also from summer this year. It's necessary to consider internal processes in our companies in order to achieve this particular regulation. And beyond regulation, also necessary to talk about ethics. For example, one of the main focus of the AI Act, of the European Commission proposals in order to regulate artificial intelligence is related to ethics, because as you can imagine, when we're proposing a new artificial intelligence algorithms, it's possible to have bias, it's possible to promote discrimination, it's possible to promote maybe people scoring, it's possible to try to manipulate to people as customers in order to have a purpose. And obviously, it's decided to consider all these ethical aspects from the design. When we're planning to create new digital tools, basically, for example, in artificial intelligence, it's necessary to consider all the ethical aspects. And we're following also this kind of challenge and other challenges related to the business perspective. Obviously, I think we are using digital transformation, and in particular artificial intelligence, in order to promote our business, but it's possible to imagine new business, but also it's necessary to consider the collateral effects of the application of digital transformation. For example, to the employment, we are creating new skills, we are creating new opportunities for the employment. Also, we are maybe affecting to other traditional employment that is possible to decrease. But for example, also, it's necessary to consider the collateral effects beyond the typical digital transformation. For example, digital transformation is a revolution for some sectors. You imagine Airbnb, as you know, platform is the best business model in the new digital world. Obviously, I think when we're talking about this platform, we're promoting new marketplaces, and in particular for Airbnb, obviously, I think we're open the opportunity to hire an apartment or the flat in towns as Burgos or the large cities in Europe. But we have a collateral effects for the real estate market. Today it's more difficult to hire an apartment in these particular towns. It's necessary to consider all these effects. For example, when we're talking about Uber, it's possible to imagine collateral effects for the taxi sector. This is normal, this is typical of the industrial revolutions, but it's necessary to manage in order to catch as soon as possible the opportunities and to manage the challenge also from the beginning. But also, for example, we're talking about this kind of challenges. Also, I consider digital transformation an opportunity to develop innovation with impact in the society. For example, we're talking about sustainability. Obviously, digital transformation in general, the new digital sector, where we spend more power than the traditional machines, but also, obviously, I think it's an opportunity to manage the sustainability. And also, let me add, the other big challenge that we have in Castilla and León, and generally in Spain, in Europe, is the evolution of the population. We're imagining 10 years, a population older than now, even less population in Europe than today. So we need to manage more information with less people. And obviously, I think digital transformation will be one of the tools that is possible to manage this kind of information, because obviously, I think it's one of the challenges that we have when we're discussing about digital transformation. And obviously, I think digital transformation can lead us to unforeseen paths. For example, this is a joke, could be a robot be a president. This is from Politico, one of the whites talking about the political TAs at the US. Obviously, when we're talking about artificial intelligence, it's possible to imagine the limits of the artificial intelligence applying in the geopolitical questions. Let me to follow, as I introduced at the beginning, with some kind of recommendation. The first recommendation is start by making a plan. Obviously, I think it may be obvious, but you are an SMEs, you are participant of the EAGLE project, but please start by knowing what you are looking for and designing the digital transformation strategy, because it's necessary to identify the goal that you are considering when we're creating this digital transformation. We're not talking only about technology, we're talking about processes and people when we are promoting this digital transformation strategy. Please, as we are commenting, this digital transformation has at least these 4 pillars: information, so we're managing data, talent, the critical asset, processes, and technology, as we are commenting, not only technology. The second recommendation is select good partners. Obviously, it's necessary to share methods that we suit each case. Not all tools have the same value for you, and it's very difficult to promote a digital transformation alone. You need maybe other companies, maybe university, maybe IT companies, in order to promote the particular solution, tailored, adapted at your particular situation. The third recommendation is people engagement is key. As we're commenting, we're talking about technology, we're talking about people. This is created by ChatGPT. I propose, could please give me a photo about SMEs and the digital transformation in Burgos? And this is the results from ChatGPT. But the critical question, obviously, is how it's possible to engage and to commit people, because at the end, it's necessary to go together. When we're promoting the digital transformation in SMEs, it's necessary to promote all the staff in order to achieve this relevant challenge. And the fourth recommendation is, one more time, as we were commenting at the beginning, I'm a member of the board of Pons IP, one of the leaders of intellectual property in Spain. And for me, intellectual property right is the best tool to manage the intangible assets. One of the challenges that we have today, maybe the most relevant companies in the world, considering the classical markets, are the digital companies, most of them from US. And the value of these companies is related to the intangible assets. And for finance people, for the typical management experts, it's very difficult for us to manage intangible assets. We're talking about reputation, we're talking about knowledge, we're talking about technology. And I consider intellectual property is maybe the best tool to manage this kind of intangible assets. And last but not least, when we're talking about conclusions, this is my last slide, I think digital transformation also is presenting a significant opportunity, but it's essential to navigate the narrow corridor between promoting digital innovation and pushing the business as usual. So this is the typical narrow corridor. I think the Nobel Prize of Economy last year, Daron Acemoglu, writing a particular book called Narrow Corridor. This is the idea. How is possible to identify this narrow corridor between creating value for the SMEs to the markets, because I have mentioned it before. Also, I think that the question is how is possible to increase our productivity, how is possible to push our business model, but also to keep the engagement of the company, also to keep maybe the engagement of our staff in order to ensure that we're getting also the skills that our staff needs in order to push the digital transformation. Well, thank you very much. I hope this presentation was interesting for you and you enjoyed doing the presentation. It was a pleasure to participate in this EAGLE project event. I'm Luis Ignacio Vicente, Innovation Advisor of ABB, a member of the board of SIP. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your conference. And once again, with the authorities and this conference, I think we have a first middle of the morning, a very interesting first middle of the morning, setting all the main topics that are important to this challenge of covering the gap in digital skills and focusing on SMEs. So thank you very much for that. Now we will have a coffee break and we will be back at 11:15 with 2 roundtables. So see you later. Welcome back to this EAGLE conference today about the challenges in digital skills for SMEs. And we are going to start the first roundtable in the morning with the title of Business Intelligence and Data Analytics. So companies are facing challenges in the area of business intelligence and data analytics. And this panel of experts will address the main challenges in this area: the lack of data culture, how to guarantee training in digital skills, the need to promote innovation in the company, and the optimization processes. In addition, we will be talking about the importance of integrating analytics into the business strategy and adapt to an increasingly dynamic market to be able to be competitive. So we have with us today 3 representatives of 3 companies. They are Javier Parra from CCA, Silvia González from ITCL, and Carlos Noriega from Aciturri Tech. First of all, I would like them to self-introduce themselves briefly, so we can know a little bit better who are talking. And I would like to know a little bit about your profiles and your company, just so we have a little idea of who you are, right? So let's start with Javier Parra, for example.
Okay, thank you, Samuel. Thank you for this event, for the organization of this event. And my name is Javier Parra. I am an external consultant on CSA, the first IT on Castilla y León. And I'm professor on the University of Salamanca, and I am the principal coordinator of Quantum Economics and Technological Experience Lab. Now I am working with CSA in the most relevant project linked with the digital transformation. I am on chair of the Lighthouse, the principal project now in the European Union. This project is the Artificial Intelligence Lighthouse. It's very important, working with Sorbonne, working with University of Glasgow, and working with another principal key players on not only in the training world in the European Union. I think that this project is very important, and my work in this is trying to motivate a good digital transformation for the small and medium enterprise.
Thank you. So Silvia, please, can you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is okay. Hi, my name is Silvia González. I'm working on the ITCL. It's a non-profit foundation, and we are here in Burgos on the next polygon of the city. We usually work, I'm responsible of the area of artificial intelligence. We work on European projects, regional one, local one, and national one. We usually have more or less 20 projects in a year, okay? And most of them is with MSE, okay? Medium, small enterprise. We try to be in touch with the enterprise and the new technologies. Just for help the enterprise to know these technologies, take benefit of these technologies on their company or their goal. Okay, and that's all for me.
Thank you very much. Now, Carlos Noriega, please. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
You. Okay. Hello. Well, hello all. My name is Carlos Noriega. I'm a director of Aciturri Tech. We are a new company within the whole Aciturri group. We are dedicated to consultancy businesses, and we work especially with small and medium size enterprises, especially in three main focus, which are automatic process, robotic process automation, which is doing all the automation of all kind of processes that we made with our PC. We combine this solution with artificial intelligence. Also, we work on the software development and, of course, with data analytics.
Thank you very much. So we have here a variety of companies, and I would like to ask you for the answers of the questions to include some examples when you can or whenever you feel like it. Not only, like general ideas or responses about the topics, but feel free to introduce specific examples that you know about your company or your sector. So I think that would be very interesting as well, because that gives us some precise insights into your core how to say, the special things you can provide, right? So we are going to start talking about data culture, and we are going to talk about the barriers, first of all, the obstacles to acquire this data culture in little, small, and medium enterprises. So, Carlos Noriega, let's start with you. What do you think are the main barriers that small and medium-sized enterprise face in adopting a data culture, and how could they overcome them?
Okay. Well, I just wanna first do a little bit of introduction because I was preparing this these sessions and working with my team first internally. I say which are I write an email to every one of my to the commercial team, and also to the guys expert in data within the company. And I ask them, for you, which are the best, which are the barriers that small companies have to start doing or implementing data culture within their companies. So I got the email from everybody, and I start reading, and what I found out that every single one has almost the same answers. So I did the same as they did. I also went to Copilot that we all have in our company, and I started finding out that all the questions answers were the same. No? Every single one have the same answer. No? And even though we were 5 different people looking for answers. So I brought everybody to a room, and I asked them, "Oh, let's think in our business, forget about Copilot and all this, and try to think on which are the main challenges that our clients, customers have. When you go to a client, a small company, and ask the owner to start a project which is related with data. Okay, and basically what we came to a conclusion is that the main problem here is that everybody knows about what it is, okay? That because we are getting a lot of information on ER and artificial intelligence in Copilot and big data and data analytics, but the main issue is that small companies, they are worried about their business. See, and it's very difficult for them, a company with 15 people, 20, that for example, one person within the company is doing more than one role, is doing administration, is doing finance, is doing purchasing, to start thinking about data and to start a project of data. It's complicated. It's very complicated, no? So what we came out with what we thought was that, okay, probably what they all need is first take a decision that they want to start with a project of this kind. Afterwards, probably just ask for help. Or ask for help for example, these kind of entities like FAA or any other solutions that we can even get the opportunity to get finance, to go with a partner, like what Ignacio says here, is strategically to get a partner, to get a good information on what kind of technologies are there, because we all know, probably when we get to a client, everybody says, no, with ChatGPT, I'll resolve this. See, and it's not like this. It's not like this. When data, you have a lot of barriers that you have to organize all the data. See which kind of technology you are investing on, because when you are investing in Microsoft or Google or Amazon, all the ecosystem of your solutions have to kind of get a marriage right there, because all the data is going to be there and they have to communicate correctly. So get all that information in a straight order to get all the solutions correctly, to see how is the quality of their data, how is all the database that they probably have or not have. If they have an Excel, probably some people have 10 Excels on that database. So that is not an issue, but probably what we need is a partner that give us a guidance of how to start. And we have a big opportunity with all the financial funds that are right now within Spain, okay? But these are the barriers, and my advice is just bring somebody that know about, because you are good in your business, and you have to be good in your business. You don't have to know about what is data lake, what is what is Power BI, how you program in Power BI. That's not the problem. What they want to see is the KPIs, the dashboards, and all the information they bring to manage their business.
Mm-hmm. So you would recommend, for example, something like consulting, or
Yes.
hiring another company that can
Help
provide
them.
that service for them?
Yes.
Okay. So Silvia, what do you think about these obstacles? Do you agree with Carlos, or do you see other obstacles as well?
I completely agree with Carlos, because we have the same problems with the companies. Okay, most of them said, "Why, if GPT could do it, I can have the same with my data?" Because you couldn't upload your data to ChatGPT, because in this case, ChatGPT is going to use your data to train their next model. That is a security problem for your company, because you are giving your other companies with the same sector, okay, information about your business. So that is not the best idea that you are going to have, okay? And most of these enterprise said, okay, I want to do something. If I couldn't use ChatGPT, which tool I have to use? There are a lot of environment of tools to do a lot of things, and they don't know which one they are going to need. Maybe they don't need a too expensive one, because more or less, for example, if you buy, for example, Microsoft, you have all the environment of Microsoft, Word, Excel, Power BI, and the rest of the system, data lakes. And maybe that is too much for your enterprise. Maybe you only have 1, 2, 3 employees, and you don't need that things. Maybe if you use only an Excel, but with all the possibilities that you could have with that, it's enough for you. And you can see your data, you can make some data analytics, you can make prediction and optimization in only an Excel file. Okay, maybe you need to give your employees some formation, some learning about the small application, okay, little pills of the different technologies that you can find on the world, okay? And with this information, they could select, or they could decide, maybe that is better, or this idea, this tool, this algorithm, it could be better with me, with my global goal, okay? That is our idea about.
From what you're saying, I'm getting the idea, and I think Carlos hinted a little bit to it as well, of data connection as well, because you're saying I have so many. You're pointing to another problem, I think, which is someone that loves the tools, and then have a lot of tools, but then they are maybe not connected, not well connected, right? So that's a problem as well. I guess cohesion of the data and how it's collected, and how you can relate the different data and work with it in an efficient way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So interesting point. And now, Javier, what do you think about these obstacles and problems? Again, do you agree with your partners? Do you see another issues as well?
No, totally agree with my colleague in this sense, because I think that is the good way is try to provide our worker about the solving the question about the connection between the tool and real data we need. No, that's the question. But try to deep in this reasoning, I think that is more positive for us. For us, trying to understand what is the real value of the data. When you know the real value of the data for the company, you motivate different workers and you provide them with the correct tools, try to understand and motivate what about their work, because they are working with a real value for the company. That's the data value. And in this sense, it's important to note now that we normally in the small and medium enterprise, we are working normally with a tangible asset, okay? But now we are working about intangible asset. That's the difference. And I think that to try to provide the real value of our data, a new value for us, the value of the data, the value of the generative artificial intelligence, the value of different tools that you are now using for your different process, that's a new question about our work. What about our value? Because normal for a traditional company, okay, we have a building and we have a value. No, we have an infrastructure and we have a value. But when you have data, when you have your own generative artificial intelligence, you have a new value, and the market recognizes this value and add value for your company. And you have to motivate your worker about the value of the company. This is our value. And we have to motivate a good use of the actual tools, try to provide a good road to obtain our target link between the correct tool and the final data. This is a data process, okay? Data analytic, data visualization, and trying to extract the correct value with this process of the different tools on the different data. I think that is the final question. No? What about the data, the actual data value?
I think this is very important and interesting because one of the objectives, I think, of the EAGLE project is to help understand small businesses that they can benefit from a data analytics and decision making based on data, right? So the importance on the data, as you're saying, I think is key. So I would like to ask any of you, whoever wants to reply to this, if you can think of an example of company or you don't need to mention any names or anything, but like any example of someone not recognizing the value in their data, like they have some data and maybe they don't know what to do with it, or do you have one of these examples to exemplify to the people, especially if we have any small businesses watching, how they could be sitting on something valuable that they aren't using, right? Any of you have any idea about that, or can you think of an example of that? Yeah.
Okay, I will try to explain this.
Sure.
Well, we especially we have a client. We're working with them, with this client, and what we are doing now is doing all the automation of all their processes. Okay, but he has a local database. It's not a database. It's an old software. Probably somebody knows about it. Visual Fox Pro. I don't know if anybody knows about this. This is like the big father of Access, no? But it came out of business, or Microsoft put it out of business in 2011 or something like that, or 9. But he has all the data right there. Okay, in this software, it has locally. Doesn't have how do you call it? A copy, or it's not a copy. Yeah, okay, respaldo. See if this is good doing the translation.
Recovery copy.
And it doesn't have this, okay? And they do not have any kind of data or any kind of dashboard, no? So we are now trying to explain them the importance of the data, the importance of doing or having these kind of KPIs. So we brought them yesterday to Asiturri, our main company, and we made a tour with them in one of our factories and showed them how the operators on the shop floor has the data right there, no? And how just an operator who's doing an assembly can take decisions because every morning they know what happened yesterday and they have the data right there. And afterwards, there is another meeting that the responsible of production get also meet with other responsible of quality engineering, etc., and do other meetings with data. And at the end, the director of the company get all this information, and in 45 minutes, they have all the information of the company right there, no? Just scaling from the bottom to the top, okay? So this is a really good example, I think, that the importance of the data, because they want to transform their company. They know that they have to do it, but they still do the management without any data, okay? They don't know. They know that they don't know what happened yesterday, if they how much time they spend on any piece of the process, or time they spend on the process, the people, because they depend of the input of the data that the people write on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Very, very good. Thank you. Okay, good. Let's see the time. All right. Okay, let's try to make it a little bit brief, but we'll see how we go. But now I would like to move to digital skills, right? And Javier, I would like to ask you, what digital skills do you consider most relevant for small and medium-sized enterprises and teams to make the most of these data analysis and business intelligence tools? So we've mentioned some tools now, right before, but now we're talking about the skills as well, right? Like, how do we? What should they know about using these tools, approaching these tools?
Thank you. You think that the second time?
No, really.
Thank you. Okay. This is a good question, meaning when we try to explain a good skill, we try to understand what is our real target in a company, okay? And for example, when you are trying to motivate a good strategy, your skill is linked with the strategical and more not than operational sense, okay? And you have to know about the different processes, and you have to know about the management, and I think that this is a typical skills, no? But when you are working on, when you are asking about an operational sense, the skills is different. You try to understand that it's important, the data analysis, the data visualization, and obviously data storytelling, okay? And you have to comprehend that these three ways of treatment of different data, you have to come with people that try to know what is the solution about the try to motivate one way, only one way. Try to obtain that general target, okay? Meaning, in operational sense, you have skills, typical skills for researcher or programming, or okay. But when you are talking about data, you need another skills, motivating a good management of the data maybe low skills, for example, try to adapt or try to anticipate the new NIS2, or another question that is important, not only this, the typical skill for operational process, try to comprehend the whole vision of the company, and you need this management skill, you need low skills, you need another skills, not only the typical skills in the sense, because you are motivated one way, one target only.
Yeah, so you're saying that it's not only about knowing how to program the database or how to make a graph about something, but it's also about linked with the higher vision of the company, the goals of the company, and the goals of what do you want that data to do, right? Or be useful for. And so you need also skills like more into the I guess interpretation of data, how to express that data finally, even in storytelling, as you mentioned, right? Okay, good. Strategies,
Trying to
make it align with the objectives of the.
No problem. Trying to answer the question why before, not after.
All right. Yeah. Why do we do this, right? Why do we want? Why? Good. So, Silvia, would you like to tell us a little bit of what you think about these digital skills that could be useful for small businesses to implement in their data analytics?
I think to make a summary of all the skills. Okay. Oh, thank you. Yes. Switch off. Okay. We are synchronized now. Okay. I think to be summarized the skills that you need now, it's I think it's the most important one is enthusiastic. Okay. Be good, be okay, be fine with all the things that you want to do. Okay, if you don't want to learn, if you don't want to find nothing on your data, if you don't want to do nothing, it's impossible to know the goal of your company, know the data of your company. You need to work a lot with all the people, all the employees of the company to have all the information that they have. You need to talk with them. You need to have the information that they have. And also you need to reduce the fears that the people have to lose their job if you introduce artificial intelligence or all these tools on the company, because all the people said, okay, in this case, if a robot do that work or dashboard, so all this information, I'm not going to have my work. I'm going to lose that. So I think you need to be friendly. You need a good emotion, okay, to find and to obtain or improve all the system that you are going to put in the company. Okay, in other case, it's impossible because you are going to make maybe a case of use. Resolve the problem, put all the tools, and maybe the people they don't want to use it because you couldn't explain well the result or the objective of this case of use, and that's impossible for the company to retrofit money of this project.
Yeah, so working on the attitudes of the whole company and improving that attitude, those emotions towards the new technologies or the data gathering, for example, will improve as well the easiness of the skills being applied, right?
Yes.
Good. So, what about you, Javier? What do you think about this? Carlos, sorry. There are a couple of Javiers, and I'm getting messed. So, Carlos, what do you think about the digital skills and well, we've heard several things being mentioned, but what would you add to all of that?
Okay. I think that we have the skills have to be break down in three main parts or blocks. Okay, one is for the people that is on the business, that are on the business, which are the directors, the managers, etc. I think that this first main people should focus in understanding how to read the KPIs, the visualization of what this brings to us, Power BI, Google, everything, or a simple Excel. What kind of data we are getting, how I interpret this data. Okay. It should be work on that, and every single one in the company should be able to define every single KPI. Okay, for example, OEE, is a indicator that every single company measure. But if you go to the shop floor and ask to the operators, explain me what is OEE, or people from any other department which is not related to operations, probably don't know about it. Okay, what does it mean? So
I don't know about it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
So it's important that every single one in the company knows and understand every single KPI and understand why probably a point is out of trend that you have on that graph, no? And you, when you go to a meeting, can bring a discussion about it. Okay, so this will be the first main block. Other one is the opportunity or the capacity, better, to create these kind of reports, the independence, not always depending of a consultancy company to create me this report, create me this KPI. No, be able to work in, for example, Power BI and have the independence to simple create a graph, no, something that you really have to measure and to know what happened with the indicator. And the third one is, as I mentioned before, just bring an expert that this expert will work on the hard part, which is creating all the data or creating all the structure and creating all the relationships between the different tables and putting all the base so the management can read all these indicators and you can take decisions based on the KPIs on the data. Okay?
I think or at least with this answer, I feel like you're answering a little bit of the next question. I mean, no. It was very good. But you're talking. You mentioned how from the directors and knowing why. Well, speaking of the why, right, of the data that we are measuring and understanding this. What does it mean that we measure this, or what for, right? Or this index, what does it mean, etc. From top to bottom, it's important. So let's link it with the next question about corporate strategy. Yourself, would you like to add a little bit more to how that links with the strategy of the corporation?
I always thinking about a small and medium-sized company. Okay, so I think that the best way to start this path is start small. I always say start small, and you don't need to buy, like Silvia was saying, Power BI or any of this fashion technology. But with a simple Excel, you can start. Okay? If you have a company of 10, 15 people, it's enough to have an Excel, but to have it organize it, okay, and to define the objective. What do you want to measure? What do you have to have on this Excel? And afterwards, you can start thinking or complicating your life, no, being more sophisticated, But the first is start small, define an objective, be clear on what you want to measure, what are your goals, and of course, be aware of the budget. Okay, because the budget here is important, especially all these new tools that are on the market, all are as a service. What does it mean? If you put a lot of data, they charge you more. If they have to do a lot of process, they charge you more. Okay, so they don't charge you for the license, they charge you for your using this tool. So start small, put your goals, but be aware of your budget, because what we have seen is that, for example, companies that they made a mistakes, they bought one of these nice tools, which is Power BI. It's powerful, it's spectacular, but since they did not configure right, they were paying a lot of licenses and data consuming. Okay, so be aware of that.
So this is the second time, I think, in this roundtable in which we are talking as well about the efficiency, not only the be aware of the data collection or data interpretation, but also efficiency. Don't use, maybe don't buy programs that you are not going to use, or maybe buy services that are of much higher or much complex than what you need. So also be efficient. It's not only about putting all the the stock in just data and whatever cool tool we have, right? Good. So about the strategy, Silvia, what do you think is important?
The same that Carlos said, but I include another one measure, the result that the project improve in your company, okay? Maybe with accuracy of prediction of your sales, or maybe other type of measure, but it's important to define a percentage of the improvement of this project, because if the improvement is good, you can't make the same process that it's successful in other case of use. So I think it's important to measure the result.
Good. You were talking, Javier, about something about aligning the goals of the company with the analytics you do. So this is the question in which you can expand on that if you want. How do you approach that alignment of goals?
In a strategic sense, no? For example, okay. When Silvia was talking about the result, I am thinking about the critical result. What is the critical result? Okay. We're going to answer the question, investment or expense. When you are trying to motivate goals linked with the actual tools and your actual work, you are talking about in a productivity sense, okay? It's crucial now for the strategic, for a company, the difference about investment and expense or expenses. Why? Because when we are going to invest in a tool, we think about the productivity and we think about, okay, an expense or an investment. And I think that is an important question. When you try to motivate a good consultancy that Carlos is talking about previously, we are trying to motivate the question about the investment, okay? Where we are now investment, and this tool is good for our expense or for our investment sense. And that's the question for the small, medium enterprise now. Because the profit and loss of these companies, it's crucial for them, because they are working day per day. It's very important, right, to obtain a good fixed index sense. Okay. Now we are sure about the investment on this tool because, for example, in CSA, it's important for us this question. You need this tool because this tool is good for you, not only in a technical sense, it's good for you for your profit and loss, for your investment sense, and definitely in your strategic sense, because you live if you have profit, and a loss is an expense. And maybe if you obtain the wrong tool, you are adding expense for your company, and you need an expert or a consultant in this sense. Okay, this is good for me. Okay, good. But this is the question, no?
Yeah.
Not only in technical sense, it's important, but not.
Yeah. So the investment point of view would be that, well, even you measure, right, whether that tool you're implementing is, or that process you're implementing is making benefits, right, to the company. And I think what you're saying about tools as well links with the next question, which is precisely about tools. And I understand that different companies need different tools. You just mentioned how a different company might need a different solution for their case. So what could we tell? I would like to have like two things in mind, like in a general sense, like we are talking because there are a lot of different companies. So in a general sense, what can we tell little small companies, medium companies about the tools they can use and what kind of tools they could apply in an efficient way and a practical way? And even if you want to give some examples of good tools that you're using or you know. And then the other part of the question would be how, like, this is the general, right? Like the something that probably could help anybody. You mentioned already Excel. You mentioned ChatGPT, but I don't think in the sense of data analytics precisely, or the applying it in a very serious way. But you mentioned Excel or Microsoft and the databases, etc. Silvia, what key technologies would you highlight?
That is a complicated question because each case have a different solution and different tools. So it's really, really difficult to decide for one of them. But like we talked before, if we are talking about a small or medium companies with only 5 or 6 employees, you don't have a huge system. So maybe if you buy or try that your employees learn about only Office, it's enough because you can do it a lot of things. Visualize graph, make prediction, optimization of elements with solve in Excel. Okay, you have a lot of things inside these tools that maybe you don't know. There are good, really good tools to begin with something because, like Carlos said before, you need to start with a really small problem with really small solution, okay? And then you can make huge project. So in this case, if you know that your solution is really good, maybe you can use other type of tools. You can make a budget of the tools that you need. Maybe you have profit if you use one of the tools, but if you use others, you are not going to be improvement in your economy. So you need to know all the cost of all the tools, and maybe Excel and Office is the easier and cheaper now in our world.
Carlos, I would like to ask you about a specific thing because you also mentioned before something about this. Is you mentioned in the example you gave earlier how they had the data locally stored, and what about, because I think many companies, small companies, might have that thing. I mean, they have their computer and they have all the information there and it's nowhere else. So what about those data storages, clouds? What would you say to that kind of company that is only storing that locally? What would you advise?
Well, from my knowledge and what we are implementing in our clients is that the easiest way to start probably is with Microsoft right now. Microsoft has all the ecosystem right there that is immediately everything now is on the cloud. Everything. You have all your files, all your data. Once is in one site and in one environment. From there you can create KPIs, dashboards, anything that you wanna do, because what they have is that you have Excels not now in your PC, but you have Excels on the cloud on OneDrive. Probably you have data on your ERP system as well. And with this system, what they have came is that you can connect all this, you can integrate already all that information. And they have also did it in a way that is simple. Let's say simple. Okay, they say that you don't have to be a rocket science, no, or probably a system engineer to create these kind of dashboards. And I have tried it and I have tested, and it works like this. I mean, you can have an Excel. The only thing that you have to do is all my data is in Excel, and I want to do this graph, and you got it right there. And all the data is securely saved on the cloud, and you don't have to worry about nothing else. You don't have to hire an expert on infrastructure, to create all the system and all the servers and everything. And it's a very easy way. I mean, for me, it's very simple and it's effective.
So you use it, I guess.
We use it in our clients and we use it internally in our company, and we have fun with it.
Yeah, good. Recently, I've noticed, because we use it at the University of Burgos as well, and they changed the name. Did you notice? It's called Microsoft 365 Copilot now, which is adding the AI to the system. So they are betting hard on that.
Copilot chat.
Yeah, which is the chat as well. Yeah, but it's in the name of the service as well. Yeah, interesting. So, Javier, do you use other tools as well, or do you want to highlight any other tool interesting that you think is key to your job, or in companies that you've seen?
For us, Microsoft, Copilot, okay. Personally, maybe Gemini for generative artificial intelligence. But for a small and medium enterprise, I think that is typical. It depends. And then sales department, maybe they could use Pipedrive or Salesforce or another typical tool. But in an operational department, they could use agile methodology like Asana or like Trello. Or, I'm talking about SMEs, okay? In the administration, you could use your own accountancy program, and I think that the key is, like Carlos mentioned previously, the integration of these different tools, because it's typical. No? You have different departments, and you could use different tools. Sales department, operations department, administration, and you have to integrate these tools to motivate and good data visualization for the CEO, for many. This is the real challenge.
Yeah. So even if some departments will have obviously their own tools, it's important to connect the whole company with some common ground, right? Some tools that anyone can access or check or put input into. Good. I would like to close because we passed our time. I would like to give you just last words for each of you, closing statements. The last question we didn't have the time for is about continuous training. You can say something about it or anything else. The most important thing for you about these challenges, and what message would you like to give to these small companies about this digitalization in the data analytics and business intelligence sphere? So closing words, we can start, for example, with Carlos.
Start small and think big.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. If you do it well, maybe you continue with that.
Good. Thank you.
Answer why before, not after.
Good. So these are our closing statements. Thank you very much to the exponents, please, to these speakers. Thank you very much. I think it was very interesting. Thank you for your insights. And we approached this from 3 different views. We can see how they agree on a lot of things, but it's interesting to see how how important this data collection and data analysis is, right? So now I'm not sure, are we going to make a rest or do we follow with the next roundtable right away? Carlos. Marcos. ¿Empezamos con la siguiente mesa directamente? Okay. All right, so we're going to start with the next roundtable. Please, speakers of the next roundtable, please come to the stage. This roundtable is, hello. Good. Do we have 4 chairs? Yeah. Okay, so this roundtable is called New Digital Professions and STEM Challenges. And this table will analyze the main challenges of studying and working in STEM areas. STEM, I will remind you, especially if you haven't heard of this or aren't very aware of this term, STEM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. There are some versions of this word, as Bogdan probably can tell us very well because he knows a lot about this topic. But basically, yeah, the challenges of studying and working in STEM areas, including academic demands, technological complexity, constant updating, and the link between studies and the needs of the labor market. Companies such as Nicolás Correa, Scretin, and entities such as FP Burgos and the University of Burgos are here being represented. So I will briefly introduce or say the names of the speakers here in this roundtable, and I will ask them as well later to introduce themselves. So we have here close to me Javier Garcia. This time I confused him with the other Javier in the previous table before. So Javier Garcia, he comes from he works in applications and marketing, right? In Nicolás Correa, a very important company in Burgos. We have Sonia Fajardo from Human Resources from the Scretin company, right? Maybe it's important. I'm sorry, I didn't know Scretin. So Scretin, I think, well, I hope you tell us, yeah, you can tell us more about it, but I think it has something to do with maybe the food industry and seafood and stuff like that. Good. So Miguel Ayala, he comes from FP Burgos, and he will have this, vision from the education from an FP standpoint of view. FP, I'm not sure in English how to say it, to be honest. What's vocational schools. So professional formation in Spanish, vocational schools. Good. And I have learned something today. Something more. I've learned a lot in the previous table. And then we have Bogdan Toma. He comes from the University of Burgos. He's the director of the area of science education. So briefly, please introduce yourselves a little bit more. Tell us who you are, what do you do, what your companies do. Thank you. Let's start with Javier. Yeah.
We start with the microphone. So good morning to all, and thank you, FAE, for this invitation, and thank you, of course, for organizing this event. My name is Javier Garcia, probably the most typical Spanish name and the most typical Spanish surname. So obviously, it's always confusing.
I'm Samuel Pérez Gutiérrez. Very typical surnames as well.
The same problem. So I'm working in the Nicolás Correa Group. Is a Burgos company, and let's say 95% of the production we do it here in Burgos, and we produce large milling machines or machine tools. We are in the sector of machine tools, so we produce big machines, which are located in the basement of the industry, because with our machines, everything is produced later on. So you produce aircrafts, you produce cars, you produce other machines. So let's say that we are making the mother of machines, and for large parts in our case. And my work basically talking about applications. We are not talking about software applications in our company. So we are talking about the applications that our customers make with our machines. So how our customers use our machines, depending on the sector, depending on the components they need to produce. So it's very much related also to connectivity as well, and to collect data to understand our customers better. So we will discuss later.
Sonia, please.
Yes, well, first of all, I would like to thank for this invitation to this roundtable. So it's really a pleasure to be here. So my name is Sonia Fajardo. I'm the Human Resources Director for the Business Unit Southern Europe. It means my scope is Spain, France, Italy, and Turkey. So our business mainly is focused on the animal nutrition. So specifically in Burgos or in Scretin side, we are manufacturing fish feeding for the fish farm business. So we are the biggest and the leader in the market. So we are almost around 10,000 people in the world. So, well, it's well and not well-known business. So, but it's really interesting because all of us, we are buying fishes at the supermarket, which are feeding with our feed.
Yeah, good. So maybe we don't know about you, but you are in our lives for sure.
Absolutely.
Good.
Well, good morning, everyone. Many thanks for inviting us to join this event. I'm Mikel Ayala. Although I was originally trained as an electrical engineer, I've spent the last 12 years basically working at the intersection of financial services and technology, working with both global financial institutions, new ventures, fintechs, and over the last 4 years on the crypto ecosystem. As of today, I'm the general manager for Europe at Backpack, which is a fully compliant digital assets exchange and a Web3 wallet. Apart from that, I'm a visiting professor of fintech, crypto, and digital transformation at the College of Europe, which is one of the main institutions for public policy in the European Union. And I'm an advisor at Ciudad de la Educación, which is a secondary and vocational school where we basically try to train people for the world and to serve others, basically in the areas of industry, agriculture, and services.
Great, thank you. Bogdan?
Okay, I also would like to say thank you and thank you for the invitation. Yeah, so my name is Bogdan Toma. I'm both professor and researcher at the University of Burgos, specifically in the Faculty of Education. We train future teachers, right now pre-service teachers from both kindergarten, primary, and secondary school to be able to teach science and STEM-related subjects to students. And the research we do is related with how can we improve from very basic elementary education subjects the way we teach all these STEM-related disciplines. As we mentioned in previous roundtables and also at the start of the conference, there are many gender gap problems, and all of these start in elementary education. So we focused on how can we change these things and what can we do from the university to make a little bit of change in this aspect. So I will try to provide more humanistic point of view, maybe to these digital skills that are required for businesses, and more importantly, starting from basic years from the educational system.
Good, thank you very much. So we are talking about this gap again in digital skills that companies face, right? So this roundtable is more focused. Well, we have 2 representatives from the education system and 2 from companies. So I think it's a good thing to talk about the link, right, in these 2 areas. I would like to start asking Mikel. Sorry if I mispronounced your name earlier. Sorry. So about the technology update, the education precisely. So technology is advancing very rapidly. How can educational institutions and business collaborate to keep this content, this STEM content, up to date and those skills related to those?
Very good question, very difficult one. I mean, first of all, the thing that every educational institution has to remember is the why. Like, why do they exist? And educational institutions do exist because, like, the amount of knowledge and the skills required to survive and thrive in the world are much more than the ones that you can, let's say, spontaneously acquire. Like, acquiring those skills, acquiring that knowledge requires effort, requires guidance, requires support. And obviously, in a moment like this, where everything is changing so rapidly and everyone may think that education is becoming obsolete, it's always very important to remember that now, because if educational institutions serve that purpose, which is basically providing the skills and the knowledge that is required, obviously their mission today is more relevant than ever. Now, having said that, it's obviously very obvious that they have to change and adapt. Now, if you look at the last 200 years, basically, a lot of educational institutions have been built following the principles of industrial factories, where you have basically you provide access to certain specialized content as the input, and you must produce highly specialized workers now. And that model has been completely disrupted by technology. Like, on the one side, on the content side, providing access to content is no longer any competitive advantage or anything like any educational institution can do. Like, all the content that you can think of is readily available, freely accessible over the internet. And on the other side, in terms of, if you think of the relevance of, let's say, high specialization, truth is that as of today, you have software and robots that are much better at performing many of those specialized tasks. No? So I think educational institutions have to realize those two things and actually adapt to that. On the content side, it is less about the content that you provide and the way you help people navigate all that content. Like, there's too much content, actually, and it's about being able to curate it. It is about being able to analyze it critically. It is about being able to really understand what the sources or the relevant sources are, and so on. And on the skill side is less about providing specific skills and more about providing like the ability to actually understand, to actually onboard and start using and orchestrate all that range of software tools and technology that can focus on performing each specific action better now. So those two things I think are extremely relevant as of today if you want to like think of an education that gets people ready to the professional world or the world in general.
Thank you. So we have this view from the perspective of the most educational perspective. Now, Sonia, I would like to give a vision from the corporate world, business world. So what do you think are synergies that can be found, or how, what can you tell us about this education and the connection to the companies?
Sorry. As I see the situation right now, there are a real connection between universities or professional schools and the companies. So both we are running away in a parallel path, but we are not crossing our ways. And I think at some point of time we need to cross our ways, because universities must know what are our business needs, because another way we are not going to find a real solutions, because as I said before, so educational organization needs to understand what are the business right now, the business needs right now and in the near future, no? For instance, to develop new career paths, in order to have young talent pools, in order to provide learning experiences to the young people. So it's much more to go to the class and to listen a teacher. No, I think the world, the life, the businesses itself are changing so fast, and we need to be agile in the adaptations of it. So, and I think right now businesses are running so fast, and educational organizations know so fast. So the way of teaching in many cases, not in everywhere, no, but in many cases, is all styles. So we are not updated at all. So, and I think we need to speed up if we want to win this race, no? But this thing is not only happening in Spain, because as I said before, so my scope is covering in other countries, and it's happening exactly the same in other places. So it's not something specifically from the Spanish culture or way of doing. So it's happening in other places. So it's something that we need to reflect about it, because otherwise, I don't know.
So, so you're throwing some shade to education. So Bogdan, defend yourself. What do you think about this? What do you think? Is education too slow? Do you agree? Do you think it's not up to date? Or for sure, for example, I would agree that obviously there's a lot of things that can be done to align with the professional force, right? But what do you think about on this topic?
So honestly, I cannot defend the equation from this point of view, because I do agree with Sonia completely. And it's not only my opinion, it's the research that it's being done that actually says this. Like there is a saying that school is an institution from the 19th centuries, teachers are from the 20th centuries, and we are trying to prepare students for the 21st century. So it's definitely school are really behind the needs of the society in general, and of course from the companies. So I really think that it's important to get some points in common. The university, I think, is doing a very great job at developing knowledge, very innovative knowledge. But then, of course, we need the help from the businesses. I think they are the great platform to be like a testing point. So to put all of those skills in practice. Research is very clear about this. We cannot learn nothing if we don't put it in practice. So if we still teach students all those old methods about science, technology, engineering, just by listening to the teacher or just by getting a lecture, just like now, we are just speaking, we are not putting our competencies in practice, nothing will change. So I do agree with Sonia on this call for more collaboration between universities and businesses to try to get together to work for each one another. What the university has to give to your businesses, and also the other way around.
Good. So interesting. He agrees a lot with you. So Javier, tell us, how do you see these synergies between education and the businesses?
Well, I'm not going to be as hard as Sonia, no? But it's clear that there is a disconnection between the universities, and I would say, in my experience, vocational schools are maybe closer to some realities, but of course, it's a very basic example, no? When you make a degree or a master's degree in a university, who is creating the content of this? Is someone involved from private or public companies with high knowledge about what is going on today or not? Because if the content is done by the same professor who is doing the same thing for 50 years, nothing is going to change. We are a company in Burgos. In Burgos, we have a lot of industries. So we have industries from many sectors and very good industries. And for sure, we have many good experts in many things, but we don't involve them. For example, to create content, it's difficult that we can have update information for our students. And but we should maybe ask ourselves, I mean, why a university professor should update information? Is he motivated, or is she motivated to do that? Is he forced to do that, or doesn't matter if he doesn't make anything? I think it's very important to think about the content of the degrees and the content of the things we are studying today to be adapted to the future. And for that, we need to make a reflection. And of course, private companies are trying to survive. We are trying to survive. We don't have much time, but we are. But if somebody pushes us, unfortunately, we are used to be pushed. So if somebody is pushing us, we will try to collaborate with the university, but we need to be pushed because we don't have time. But we will be very, very, very happy to collaborate with any vocational school or any university.
So you would say that some input from companies, well, as Sonia was saying as well, right? But for example, in the elaboration of the educational path, right, in certain career or whatever, would benefit from input from the real companies, real people working on those fields, right? And you're even suggesting that they push you a little bit, maybe, right, and try to take you there, right, to help with that path. Good. Open question for whoever wants to answer this, but in line with this, like you're saying, for example, that pushing us, right? That's maybe the university professor or someone that's creating a path saying, hey, we are talking about this industry, so I'm going to ask someone from that industry to help me, maybe like a consultant or whatever, to design this. What other ideas would you, like concrete, specific ideas, would you suggest, any of you, to make real that connection?
Well, in our case, we are detecting that we are missing a lot of abilities and knowledge about super specific areas, no? So we have been in contact with many different universities, which are I would say the basics degrees on that. So for instance, veterinarian, no? We are hiring a lot of young veterinarians. And one of the abilities that we are missing is the data analytics, or the knowledge in big data, no? So one of the things that we are doing, I think this year is the third one. We are collaborating with the Stirling University in UK in order to help to the people, to the students, to have a different subjects in the career in order to try to be attract our business, to be attract to them, in order to get them a future in our business. So we are trying to modulate the students according what we need in the future. So Stirling University is, I would say, quite flexible. They allow us to do that. Indeed, we have many, I would say, senior veterinarians which are teaching there, people who are in our payroll. So they are traveling to Stirling University to teach those students in order to create our right, perfect candidates for the future.
So let me ask you about this example you just gave us. You're talking about creating the perfect candidate. All right, the perfect candidate for your company, but are those abilities like for many more companies? Like, could they use them in many other companies as well?
Yes, well, indeed, it's very specific, but in our sector.
Right.
So indeed,
okay.
the thing is that Scrating is a leader is very advanced
and very big, as you said.
And very big, and in comparison with the followers, so we are very advanced. So now we are introducing ourselves in this type of things. So we have robots under the water in order to track the evolution of the growing of the fish. We have robots flying away. So all those machines or devices are collecting data. So that's why it's very important not only to collecting data, even it's more important to have a critical thinking to understand what those data are telling us. So, and well, it's important to train the people. So, of course, we are paying these studies in this specific university. That's why we are focused in our business. Of course, this is a gift for them. So somehow, if tomorrow they decide to leave to a competitor, it is what it is.
Yeah, they have that as well. Okay, so immaterial assets. That's it. That's the thing. So I would like to ask you about how to attract talent from STEM professions to companies, right? And I would like to start with actually people from education. In this case, Bogdan, what do you think? So, from your point of view, I would say is from the point of view of the students, right? From the point of view of the workforce, how do you think they would be attracted to either study STEM related content, or if they have studied that, what do you think is important? It's an offer, what can the companies offer them to go there? How, because this is important for the companies as well to know how to attract those people, right? So what do you think about that?
Okay, so I need to give a little bit of background before giving my response to that. So actually, I will use data from the last Teams edition, which is like a PISA study, but just done for science and mathematics. So results are very bad. So Spain actually is the lowest performing country in science and mathematics from all OECD countries. And not only that, our achievement from today, it's even worse than from the edition from 13 years before. So our students' achievement in science and mathematics, it's lower than the students from 2012. So we are improving a lot, or trying to improve in terms of innovations, but what's going on? What's the problem? So this study is being performed with students from elementary school. They are 8, 9 years old students. And from our own research, we actually found that by those ages, there are a lot of gender gaps. 60% of the girls, they actually said they are not interested in any STEM-related discipline, even from 8 years old. So why is this happening? So the research we are doing is signaling two problems. The first one is the value that students see in STEM-related disciplines. So we know that women are more value-oriented, so they like disciplines like healthcare, medicine, biology, and so on. But men are more results-oriented type of mindset, so they do choose more engineering. So one way to try to change this aspect is maybe showing the value behind the labor that we are doing in STEM-related fields, so that girls from very young ages can understand that if they study STEM-related careers, they will make an impact on people's life. Not only growing businesses, not only gaining more money, not only getting more rich, but also making an impact in improving people's life. So that will be the first key idea. And the second idea is to try to improve their expectancies of success. So all STEM-related fields are very, I would say they are perceived as to be only for few people, for the chosen one. Just few of us can actually go into STEM, and that's not true. I really think that today we are seeing that even if you have talent, but if you don't work hard, you will not achieve it. So we need to also improve this idea from very young ages. Like I said, 4th grade of primary education. So I would say these ones, to improve the value perceived and to improve their expectancies that they will succeed if they really want to study STEM.
So I had heard a somewhat similar argument you're making about the tendencies in men and women, but it was somewhat different from what you just said. You're saying women are looking for value, I'm not sure what kind of value exactly, but I had heard that argument framed as focused on people, like people works in which you are usually work with people more often. Is that true, or how is it different?
That's what I was trying to explain. Like women focus more on jobs related with improving people's life,
I see,
like healthcare,
I see.
medicine in general,
I see.
like more value oriented for the social aspect. And boys, even at the younger years, they focus more on machines, technology, engineering,
Understood.
and so on.
Okay. Javier, for example, what do you think about this now we've heard from the very, very young ages. Now, from the company's point of view, what do you think companies can do to attract more this kind of talent?
I mean, everything is done from the beginning, as I said. I mean, from our young ages, we need to develop this motivation for going to STEM careers, and specifically for the ladies, for the girls. And what we can do as companies as well to help. I think more or less nowadays 20-25% of the total students are making STEM degrees, which is a very low percentage in Spain compared to other countries. But I agree completely with him saying that we need to act very soon. I mean, we need to start talking to the kids when they are 10 years old, 9 years old, and they start facing problems with mathematics, for example, and they start to get frustrated because they realize that mathematics is harder than maybe other subjects. And for that, maybe we should review our method, how we teach these STEM subjects to the kids, how we can make these subjects more attractive and less frustrating. So obviously this will result in more people thinking that they can go to this, they can take this path. Because I think it's true that even nowadays, many people think that when you're a kid, okay, this is complicated, so probably I'm not going to that path because I'm not going to be able to achieve this, and it's not true. I mean, everything can be learned, but I think the method or the methods we use to teach these subjects from the very beginning should be at least analyzed maybe in a different way to see how we can improve this feeling. And of course, for the women, use very successful STEM women careers, and making these speeches in the schools may help, because then other small ladies will see a normal women being very, very successful with STEM careers, you know, and making very important things in the society.
Mikel, so you see or probably know a lot of examples from ages, you know, like the teenage phase and young adults phase. So what do you think could motivate them to pursue these topics? And even, well, especially since we are talking as well, women in those ages to pursue this kind of education?
Okay. It's a very complex topic. I have maybe a little bit of a different point of view here. On the one side, I'm a firm believer in supply and demand. I think that as of today, STEM careers, both from an economic perspective and a reputation perspective, are much better valued than other alternatives. If you look at the most relevant companies in the world as of today, they are run by nerds. They are run by people who have like super strong STEM backgrounds. And just being transparent around that, I think should be enough to make sure that people are attracted to this kind of career. Now, having said that, obviously STEM is hard. There is one harsh reality, which is very difficult to understand and perceive in a world that values a lot diversity and inclusion, which is eventually success in STEM careers is very closely correlated with intelligence, and intelligence is not evenly distributed among the population. it's as easy and as complex as that. I think, to be honest, it's not that much about trying to onboard everyone to a STEM career. It is more about making sure that those ones who have like the potential to like perform really well there do not abandon that career, which is what actually is happening, especially within let's say the female demographics. No, if you look like at overall statistics, like probably around 2 to 3% of the population has the right personality traits to be a scientist. And that's good because probably if everyone in the world were a scientist, the world would be unlivable. But it's just a small part of the population. Now, if you look at how IQ is distributed, probably the top 2-3% of the population is also able to perform orders of magnitude better than the median or the rest. No? So I think there's a lot to be learned, especially in a country like Spain, from the way high performance sports are managed. It is not about making everyone a professional athlete, because not necessarily everyone can be a professional athlete. It's about making sure that the right talent is nurtured and has the opportunity to grow, whether they are female or male. No, I think it's about social recognition mostly. They're in line with the stats that were mentioned about women abandoning STEM careers very early. There are very specific research on gifted females and the way they interact. Females are smarter than men, and one of the things that they do at very early ages is try to conform socially and try to not look different to others, and they prefer to be like to have friends than to be smart or to sound smart. And it's very, very clear that a lot of people like just want to avoid that type of career, because it's like, I don't want to be the weird girl who is smart. I want to just be a normal girl, have friends and interact with others. No, and I think it's about normalizing the fact that there are people who are better at certain disciplines, and that's also inclusion. It's not like you shouldn't feel worse for being good at maths. It's actually a good thing. You can be super helpful to a lot of people, but by being good at math, by being good at physics, but being good at computer science. And I think there's a lot of inclusion work to be done with those upper quartiles, or this top quartile of people who are really smart and can have super successful careers on a STEM. This is something that sounds maybe not like super popular. People are more focused on trying to I think when people think about inclusion, tend to think about the people who are in the lower quartile, the ones that need more help. But the truth is that we have a lot of people in the top quartile that don't have that help either, and that are abandoning those careers that are potentially extremely rewarding for them personally, and for us as a whole, as a society. You know.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Sonia, how do we foster, how do we help, and what do you think as well of what everything that's been said now about these topics? What's your point of view, and what can we do to nurture that interest in these STEM fields?
Sorry, I fully agree with my colleagues have said. So it's not a simple question, it's not a simple answer, and there are many factors around, no? So one ingredient that I would like to put on the table is not only we are going to talk about gender, the gender gap between the females and males, no? The another bridge is about the generational. So young people, the way of thinking, the style of thinking of the young people is completely different than the seniors one, I would say, no? So that's why now the people who are in the companies, I would say we are senior, and we need to change our mindset in order to be attracted to the young people. So because young people, male or female, are those that will be in the future the leaders of our companies. So that's why if we want to get them on board, we need to be attractive. So that's why we need to change our the way that we go for them. So in a different way. So because the way that it is working for us in the past is not working for the young generations. So that's why I think we need to reflect a little bit on that.
What trends would you point to, or what kind of specific differences are you noticing in these seniors versus juniors
Yes.
or young people?
Well, I see since I would say 5 years ago, more or less, I think it's a worldwide tendency. It's happening that from the generic point of view, because sometimes there are specific different cases. But I am observing that there are a lack of critical thinking. So there are a lot of experts doing very nice things, but in the end, they are not able to extract any conclusion from the data or this job or this work or whatever they are doing. No, critical thinking, I think, is one of the most important thing. And another point that I would like to point it out is the to be eager to go for the extra mile, so the efforts. So in the real world that we are living right now, for the young population, more or less everything is easy. So the level of frustration that they are able to deal with sometimes is not so enough.
Interesting. Yeah. So, Javier, let's talk about new skills in STEM professions. We talked about how things change rapidly, technologies are appearing every day almost, and well, the market, the society, everything is shifting step by step. So what specific skills would you say are currently in demand in the new digital professions in these STEM areas?
Well, if we talk about technical skills, because I think we will talk about softer skills later on, there are many different technical skills. And when we talk about digital professions, I mean, there is a big difference between companies that are developing high technology for giving service to other companies. For example, if you are developing intelligent artificial software to support other business, other sectors, obviously you need a certain people with a certain technical skills, probably very advanced skills for programming and developing this kind of software. But most of the companies, they are trying to use some of the newest technologies to improve their efficiency and to be more competitive, or to improve their business numbers. And for that, maybe you don't need an expert in Python programming, which you may need, but maybe you don't need exactly a perfect programmer, but you need people with enough knowledge to understand how is the technology today, and to be able to collaborate with partners and with other companies to develop projects to implement these technologies successfully, knowing your own business. Because as we discussed in the previous table, every company should know their business and should know what is interesting in terms of digitalization to do. So it's not a matter of being trendy and now I'm going to make something of artificial intelligence just because it is trend. Is really what do I need to do? And there have been many small companies with 2, 3, 4 employees, which maybe they need to start with the basics to digitalize small things and make small things, and there's nothing wrong about that. And maybe for them, they don't need such a technical skills. They just need the knowledge and the guidance of some other companies to start the first step. So
okay, I would like to ask you to link this with soft skills, and for the table, we are going to mix these two questions. So if you could give us a brief idea of what you think soft skills put in the table for the workforce, and how they relate to these technical skills. So soft skills, just so everyone is on the same page, if you haven't heard of this term, is things like communication, leadership, being maybe charismatic, or being able to spot empathetic, maybe, right? So that's those kind of maybe more social skills, right? So how would they link, or what do you think is the importance and relation with the technical skills? For you, Javier. Yeah, let's link it, and for now on, we are going to, mix these two things together.
Okay, so talking about soft skills and the relation with technical skills, sometimes it's a little bit peculiar, no? Just to give an example of our company, we increase our company is based on STEAM profiles. Let's say almost 70% of our total workers have STEAM studies from the vocational schools or from engineering, basically, of different areas, but all of them are STEAM profiles. And it's true that in the last decade, obviously, we have increased the number of, for example, IT software engineers to connect systems, to make digitalizations and to advance in these processes. And these profiles sometimes they are not working 100% on site. Sometimes they work remotely, and they have their specific needs. No, some of them they are very good technicians, but they have really high difficulties to develop certain soft skills. And if you're working remotely, it's even more difficult because how you can develop, communication skills or let's say leadership skills if you need it, because maybe you don't need it. So I think these digital professions, when they become in very technical, like always, sometimes it's difficult for them or for the company to help them to develop some other soft skills.
Yeah, like the interconnection, for example, in the case of the online worker, right? The from home, working from home, it's you have less interpersonal connection, so it's even harder for someone that maybe doesn't have those soft skills to develop them as well, right? Sonia, what do you think about these new skills that are in demand in the STEM fields in the companies, and also, as we said, related to developing as well the soft skills, and what is the importance of those soft skills as well?
Yes. Well, one of the things that is going to happen, maybe not in short term, but in medium or long term, we are going to have new players, new partners in the business. Maybe we are going to have some machines working with us. So, and
Sorry, some machines.
Machines, yes. So robots or
Okay, right.
humanoids, I don't know.
Are you talking about the machines as partners, right? Like,
yes,
okay.
yes.
ChatGPT in my next desk.
Yes. This type of things, even in a higher interaction with the humans. So soft skills like communication, teamwork will change as we know of today, no? Because now we are talking about this interaction between human beings, but in the near future, maybe we have this interconnection with machines. So that's why these soft skills will change in the way that we know, no? For me, one of the most important things is the flexibility, to have the capability to adapt what is the environment of today. Because this world is changing so fast that what is new today for tomorrow is old. So that's why this ability to change every day to the environment is one of the most important things that we have to think about it.
So either technical or soft skills adaptability is going to make you able to address whatever you need to improve, right? Good. Mikael, what can you tell us about this?
I totally agree with what Sonia said. I've been hiring technical profiles like engineers, digital marketers, designers for the last 6-7 years, and always the criteria has been not like you are very good at doing something specifically. It has been more like, I don't really know what you can do, but you look smart enough, so come here and the challenges will come. No? I think it's extremely important in terms of, let's say, technical skills, like the ability to deal with uncertainty. Like, there are very few people that feel comfortable not knowing what is going to happen tomorrow, and that's extremely important today. I think it's extremely important to have people who feel comfortable dealing with incomplete and sometimes even contradictory information, and being able to have an understanding of what's going on based on that. I think that's very important to have people who are able to react to that, to generate a hypothesis of what could be the best path forward, and just try it and react to that. And in general, be able to react very quickly to new information. I think in a world where I've been working remotely with global teams for the last 4 or 5 years, this information flow is extremely important. Just being able to read and understand what has been written, and being able to write and be concise on your communication is extremely important. And one very important thing in the current world we live in is the ability you have to, let's say, manage your own digital bubble. Like, we all live in digital bubbles. By the way, like, information algorithms and the content feed works, it's a reality. We all live in our own digital bubbles. We all have to be conscious of that and be able to actually shape them. Like, be very conscious of in which digital bubble you are participating today. How do you get out of that and get into a different bubble for basically be able to get certain things done. I think that's relevant in terms of technical skills. And in terms of soft skills, what I would say is that, first of all, they are the most important ones, because they are the ones that cannot be and will not be disrupted by machines, because machines cannot have goals, they cannot have feelings, they cannot have empathy, and that's the only thing that differentiates us. And those two things, like the ability to dream, the ability to be optimistic about the future, the ability to be able to think about a potential future that is better than what we have today, and the ability to empathize. No, so just that. Like, I think as educational institutions, like the two main goals that we have is like to help nurture human beings that are first able to dream, and that are willing and have the desire to serve others. No, and those two things are true, have been true for the last 1,000 years, and will remain true for the future.
Okay, Bogdan, tell us what you think about this.
I would also like to link my response to the previous questions about what can we do so that students will learn or want to engage with STEM-related fields. I do agree with Mikkel that maybe this is not the best question. So maybe the question is not what can the university do to have more scientists, but maybe what can we do so that all students, all the population has a very basic understanding of all the STEM fields. So we actually know that if you have a very basic training in STEM-related fields, you will get a different mindset that will help you solve real-world problems. So it's not only about being a scientist, but being able to have all those skills that are very related with STEM, and you can apply it to almost every job. So for example, nowadays it's very popular, all this computational thinking stuff. So developing computational thinking skills, it's not only about programming, it's also about how you solve other problems in your life, how you decompose a very big interdisciplinary problem in very small problems so that you can solve it. So even if you work in a non-STEM related field, you will need to have all these type of skills. And for the soft skills, I also have to agree with both Javier, with both Sonia, that there is a change and people get frustrated. We've been living in a very different paradigm that if you study, you will have a very good job and you will succeed. And this paradigm, it's not working anymore. So we really need to learn how to manage these frustrations and how to manage failure. Failure goes hand to hand with innovation, and without failure, there will be no innovation. So students really need to get to train in this type of soft skills, like being able to go past the failure, knowing that nothing is guaranteed anymore, and you need to learn and adapt to these world-changing problems that we face. I would say that.
Good. All right, so we're going to end the roundtable thinking about the future trying to predict the unpredictable. We never know, right? But, you know, looking at the trends and trying to foresee a little bit what could be coming. And you've mentioned plenty of things that are related to that. Artificial intelligence has been coming up again and again. Obviously, we are talking about data and how that collection interpretation is important to companies. STEM fields as a source of not only very specific knowledge and skills, but also as a broad culture that can shape and help students in any field. So for the future, next 5-10 years, let's start from Bogdan again and come back to Javier answering this question. Which emerging digital professions in STEAM areas do you think will have the greatest impact in the next few years? And how should both education institutions and companies prepare for those?
So I will not be able to actually say the jobs that the market will have. That's a very uncertain future, but I do think that what STEM brings to the table is that we need people that will work to solve interdisciplinary problems. Like we have all these global warming issues, sustainability issues, food security issues, and so on. And those are problems that will not be solved with just one discipline, not only science, not only engineering, and not only education. We really need to work in interdisciplinary groups in order to be able to give a response to these social problems. So I would say that all future jobs will be somehow related with the ability to work in interdisciplinary groups. I would say that.
Good. Mikel?
Okay. Well, let's make predictions. I mean, my prediction has less to do with specific skills and with the fact that I think many of the most rewarding STEM careers and best paying jobs for STEM professionals will be not posted by traditional organizations, but by open source communities. There will be, as there are today, online communities built around certain goals, certain values that have their own treasury, the ability to fund projects, the ability to develop products, generate revenue, and generate a business. And those, like what as of today is Ethereum Foundation or Solana Foundation or many others, will be a key source of opportunities for STEM talent that is open. So basically anyone in the world, no matter where they live, no matter where they are from, they can basically access those opportunities because they are posted publicly on the internet. Anyone can apply and contribute to those projects, earn a grant, earn a salary, earn a bounty. And I think over the next 5 to 10 years, we will see that has already been happening over the last 5-10 years, actually scale and really compete with the established technology and industrial companies.
Sonia?
Well, I didn't bring with me my crystal ball, but so it's quite difficult, this question, no? Because we're running so fast, we don't know. But I agree with my colleague has said before. So everything that is going to fix problems in interconnections with different fields. So we need to fix many problems in the near future, big ones, for instance, about sustainability and this type of things. And with only one type of studies or development is not going to be enough. So working in team, working in connection, I think is going to be the success for the future, I think.
Well, so far, all of the three answers have been very much in that direction as well, because the open source as well is a collaborative effort, right? Important one. So, okay, Javier, what do you think?
Maybe for the future is more important rather than your studies. It's more important your skills and your ability to contribute with other organizations and other teams to create things and be adaptable and be global. So I'm not sure if we could imagine a certain profession rather than a profile of persons that are open-minded, are adaptable, and they have a global view of the current technologies and problems.
Great. So I would like to ask you for a final little statement of the most important message you would like to address, or would you like to put out today? So feel free, whoever feels like starting.
Yeah. So STEAM already started as a political movement, like let's give more attention to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But nowadays, I don't know if you heard about STEAM with also an A, like STEAM. Well, so the A, it's more like a call for let's not forget about social studies and education. It's important to also focus on social studies and education for the development of the STEAM fields. So I will say that's my message. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Miguel?
I think my message is that life finds a way, and it's better to enable that and to facilitate that than try to stop that. So always try to understand if you are trying to enable the flow of things going on and making things easier and better for more people, or you're trying to block that.
Great, thank you. Sonia?
Yeah, for me, my message is try to reach out the balance. Balance everywhere, in every business, in every way of your life is key. So STEM is super important for the society, but other types of studies are super important to get us balance.
Great. A lot of new stuff is coming up in these last sentences. Good.
So
Yeah.
with this revolution of the technology and what is going to happen in the future, I think be adaptable and be optimistic and just enjoy what you are doing.
Great. So that was a very good roundtable, very good speakers. Thank you very much. It was very interesting. So let's please give them a goodbye with an applause. Thank you. Now, to finish this event, we are going to have some conclusions and a closing conference. Let me introduce the coordinator of the Project EAGLE from the area of computation and artificial intelligence at the University of Burgos. I leave you with Bruno Baruque.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. As Samuel said, I'm Bruno Baruque I belong to the University of Burgos, and I'm here representing the EAGLE project, which is the umbrella project that brought us all here. First of all, I would like to thank all panelists who came today willing to share their knowledge and very interesting insights that gave us. I also want to thank specifically, thank you, the first table who was composed of authorities of Burgos, university, regional government, etc., who had the time to come here and support us, these kind of projects and this kind of initiatives for fostering digital skills in our workforce. And also to thank FAE for hosting this event here today, which has been very nicely organized, and I want to thank you for that. So once again, okay. So my final speech, I think, aligns quite well with what we heard today from all panelists. Is somewhat call of action now that we heard opinions from a lot of experts. The project tries to give some answers to the small and medium enterprises. So now that we all agree that we need digitalization skills, what can we do to acquire them? Okay, so as I'm from the data analytics fields, also I brought in some data from how SMEs contribute to the economy in Europe, extracted from Eurostat, which is the official European statistics agency. So as you can see in the first half is a raw number of companies in Europe. There are 0.2 companies which are multinational, so it's very small in number, but most of companies in Europe are small and medium-sized companies. So it's something we need to foster. Of course, if you go to the second row, multinationals give employment to almost a third of the population, but then again, small and medium companies are almost half of that. So it's important, of course, to bring these new skills to this type of companies. Okay, so that's that's a little bit where we are standing today. I will go to the next one. This one is calls or represents the digital readiness, or it was called digital intensity. Luis talked about this in the first talk, which means how ready are companies prepared for digitalization. And again, what we can see easily, the first column on the left is for large companies, which are a very high bar. And then as we go reducing the size of companies, of course, decays, and only half of medium-sized companies are, I mean, half or the average level of digitalization is medium. So it's something, of course, all higher education institution or education in general wants to address. So that's why in that context, we are developing right now the EAGLE project, which has the idea of, well, the main objective of delivering high quality and specialized training courses in these digital skills areas, especially focus on SMEs all around Europe. It has other objectives that were mentioned today by many of the panelists, like making higher education institutions and companies closer, also having different regions from Europe closer to each other by developing digital skills and sharing the knowledge we get from different points of Europe, and where they are more expert in different skills. Okay, and I don't want to extend very much. The idea of this is now realized by a consortium of different universities along Europe. As you can see, what I wanted to stress in this slide is that, as someone said in the first panel, I guess, we are not trying to design courses on our own, but if you see the consortium, every university is paired with an association of business. So we are trying to be useful and cover what they need in each case. For example, our University of Burgos is working with FAE to reach companies, gather what are their needs, and trying to offer solutions for this. So some courses that are already running. So in case you heard of a use case is interesting for your company and maybe you want to learn more, these are made by different partners of different universities, like in Ireland, Slovakia, Czech Republic, etc. As you can see, we are trying to cover a wide area of digital skills. So we have business and industry process, blockchain, cybersecurity, which were mentioned before, smart energy systems. Okay, so those are several courses we are running. Each one is running in a country, but if you feel would be interesting for your company, just reach us, either me at the university or FI, and we can try to fit something, maybe to translate the course or having you get into that courses related to the University of Burgos. Since we are in FI, and probably more people are interested in courses given in Spanish and in our university, we have like two different areas. So one is like more software-oriented areas. So we have, it was mentioned, ChatGPT and generative models. We have another one which are introductions to big data, and also a more in-depth course for big data. And then we have another part of the courses which are a little bit more related to hardware or industry, which includes IoT, optimization, industrial robotics, etc. So I wanted just to point out which topics we are covering. And if you're an SME company and you're interested in any of these topics, we would like to encourage you to find a course that suits you and try to join it. Maybe not everyone in the company, but one or two people who need to know about this. As I think it was said also in some panels, the idea of the courses are not becoming an expert in any of these technologies, but rather to have initial knowledge about, I don't know, data analytics or robotics, or how does this work on a basic level, and getting like the lingo or the ideas of this technology, and later on go to another company maybe and being assessorated or look for help, but then you share a common ideas or common language, so you can try to convey what your company needs in a more fluent way, rather than going with no knowledge and seeing what can you do for me. No, you learn a little bit of the technology by means of our courses, and then you are free to explore other venues. So they are not time consuming. They are expected to be done in a month, the longest one, but some of them are just 1 week or 2. They are online. Some of them are also in English from other partners, so you can join any of these courses. And well, this is how we think it could be started to as the title says, bringing together skills and closing this gap that we have either by generation, because companies started many years before and you don't know these things and you cannot hire people who are experts in this, or the topic is far away from your company. But then again, the idea is having like a digital knowledge, a small one, just to keep on going with this. Next steps for the project, apart from the courses I already spoke about, those who are attending on site, you have leaflets in case you want to have a look later. If you don't get the leaflet, we have a web page. I will point you later on. So if you're in Burgos and want to join one of Burgos courses, please go to our website. You can find information on dates and so on. If not, and you feel it's easier, you can call people at FI, which will be eager to help you. If you're interested in, for example, blockchain and cybersecurity, which are not covered by the University of Burgos, we are organizing online courses also from other universities, so you can join, for example. And finally, following the mirror of this event, we will have a next event in May in the University of Turku in Finland, which is a partner, which also will be, in this case, will be more centered on cyber resilience and cybersecurity, but will be also streamed and translated in case you want to join and keep learning about this kind of things. So then again, I want to thank everybody who came for your insights and help. Here you have more information in case you want to know more about the project. You have our official website, LinkedIn accounts, etc., and all our partners. And I think that's all from me this morning. I don't want to keep you waiting for the lunch. So thank you very much again, and we will keep in contact in case you need any help with learning and acquiring these technologies. Thank you very much.